we can continue to work closely together on turning this area into something that really respects the residents.
There are concerns about the project's overall cost impacting the neighborhood and local businesses, with some special property tax assessments running thousands of dollars. The college basketball matchup Minnesota Hoops fans were hoping for is a done deal. St. Thomas and the University of Minnesota men's and women's teams will officially play one another during the upcoming regular season, with the men playing November 6th and the women's teams playing December 1st at the Barn. Tommy's men's head basketball coach Johnny Power says a game like this shows just how much his program is growing.
I don't know how often this game will happen, but we're certainly excited. And, when people have asked this question, so often over the last several years, and our answer's always been the same. We'd love to play the Gophers, and that's not saying we think we're going to beat the Gophers. We're not going to say we're going to beat a Big Ten team, but we're saying we're thrilled to get the opportunity. And I think it's just going to be a really, really fun day for the entire state.
The women's teams have never played one another. 1934 was the last time that the men's teams faced each other. MSP airport catering workers are protesting over what they call unsafe working conditions.
Airport catering workers gathered at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport to demand an immediate end to a single-operator catering policy they argue creates hazardous working conditions since its introduction by employer LSG Sky Chefs in 2025. Hoptong Wildegerdes has been a driver for LSG Sky Chefs for over 11 years.
It's a lot of hard work every day, and we have a lot of pressure on us. The airlines need their flights to leave on time, and we can be assigned with very tight departure times, which means we have to rush.
Labor union Unite Here Local 17 is representing the employees, and the push has garnered support from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. At MSP, I'm Taylor Rivera. News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's 3:05, traffic and weather next.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Slowdowns in place traveling eastbound 394 to Minneapolis past Penn Avenue. 35W northbound slows past Lake Street to I-94. Over in the East Metro, East 94. Something slowing to make way past John Island Boulevard. Head over to Highway 52. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It stays humid tonight. We'll see some breaks in the clouds, call it partly cloudy with an overnight low of 67. Tomorrow is going to be the hottest day so far this year. Partly cloudy, still humid, heading for a high near 91. We could see some scattered showers and thunderstorms overnight into Wednesday morning. Keeping an eye on the storm threat Wednesday afternoon. It will be hot, windy, and humid with those storms likely firing up in the afternoon.
It's cloudy and 80 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Because the daily grind in Minnesota doesn't come with an instruction manual. News Talk 830 WCCO. You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRusha.
I'm starting to get sick of fraud. I'm worried Republicans are way overplaying their hand. It's Jason. It's Drive Time. Bombshell report, says committee that issued report. It's like me telling you this is going to be like award-winning show. Haven't won anything. Not sure this report is a bombshell. And in fact, it's more of the same. And I do think that fraud and the way Minnesota let fraud happen, and Governor Tim Walz and his administration, and year after year after year, the culture of being like a customer service agent rather than being skeptical and a guardian of taxpayer dollars, I think that's been a massive issue in our government. But another 200-page report saying everything that we've been talking about for the last 2 years. The fact that the reaction to fraud is so overwhelmingly political, I worry that the obsession with this singular issue for national politicians looking to make an example of Minnesota and local politicians who don't actually have a plan as to what they're going to do to make this state better, the politicizing of this may actually end up wrecking some of our efforts to control fraud. 651-461-9226. Do you think the Republicans are overplaying their hand? Today, it's the House Oversight Committee. Their staff report titled The Cost of Doing Nothing, How Tim Walz and Keith Ellison Fueled Minnesota's Fraud Explosion. I've read part of it. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that over the last 2 hours, I read a 209-page report, but I've read parts of this report, and I've read media reports of it. If you've read it and have a different view, for me, I want to hear from you. But we watched plenty of the testimony in front of this committee, and it is the greatest hits of this story. It is stuff that's been reported. Here's what I believe. Minnesota has a government that is set up that gives the benefit of the doubt to people who are doing good, the do-gooders. Are they really doing good? Well, we don't have the systems in place to make sure they are. Have we as a government turned a blind eye to fraud? Yes. Were whistleblowers ignored? I believe they were. All right. Like what more are you looking for? And what happens now, because this is so politically motivated, House Republicans want to blame Keith Ellison. They want to blame Keith Ellison. Well, Keith Ellison is the Attorney General, and the funds were being administered by the Department of Education in Minnesota. And I really don't think this was Keith Ellison's place to step in and do anything. Now, do I think that Minnesota government should be realigned? Yeah, I do. I do think we should reorganize the way our government is set up. There should be an auditor overseeing things. We have a Minnesota state auditor who is, by statute, responsible for auditing local units of government. So we got nobody really watching the state government with any real authority. So I do think there are real ideas here where we could recalibrate, reorganize. But what's happening now is a pile-on. It's a pile-on by Republicans, and I get it. The Democrats asked for it, right? By downplaying the extent of the problem, by not holding anyone within government accountable, by the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, having to essentially be shamed out of running for re-election. But do you need another report? Do we need another group of Republicans just saying like, oh, Minnesota, fraud? I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't see the benefit. And there's this tipping point where when you keep screaming about something that is backward looking, not forward looking, it gives people permission to say, it's these guys again. Bombshell report. What's new? What's new in this report? 651-461-9226. Texters say they don't seem to worry about Trump's 34 fraud convictions. I will urge the Trump haters to consider how much they sound like the Republicans who say that, well, what about, Trump did this? Or the Republicans who say Biden did that. What about Biden? Where were you on Biden? I'm not that intrigued by the what about argument. Texters, there are numbers out there that 80% of Somalis are on some social service assistance. There has to be fraud there. That percentage is way too high for one group of people. Well, first of all, there doesn't have to be fraud. Second of all, I don't know that that number is true or not. I don't know. Are we too generous as a state? It's a question I've asked before on this show. I have not seen much real wrestling with that. Do you want more investigation? Do you want more information? What do you want to know? For me, and not that the Walz administration gets to just wash their hands and say, well, he's not running. He's not running again. He's not going to be the governor again. I do think Peggy Flanagan, who was the lieutenant governor, while all of this is going on, I do think it's fair to ask what she was doing, if anything. And if she was doing nothing, why was that? What was her role as lieutenant governor? Do you deserve a promotion to U.S. senator if you were uninvolved? If the honest answer is, I was sort of cut out. I was a typical lieutenant governor, and I wasn't at the table. Be like, well, okay. Like, actually, that would be the most compelling answer to me, to say, like, all right, understandable. Texters say, Jason, I'm not interested in investigations. Just gut the programs and be done with it.
But that's to your point, right?
This is
when
what
you talk about, I'm just tired of hearing about it. That's one of the ripple effects you can do off of I'm just tired of hearing about it. Just get rid of the whole thing. Just wash yourselves of the whole thing. Let's just be done with it. And that's, that kind of apathy is just as problematic as I don't care anymore. Let's just move on, leave the stuff as it is and go for. I mean, neither of those are terribly helpful solutions. Understandable reactions, no question, but that can't be the way forward, pragmatically speaking.
And that's sort of what's happening. The text line is bearing out my thesis here that the Republicans are overplaying their hand such to a point that you have a real issue and a real liability for Democrats who were in office in this state while this fraud has been going on, which, of course, the guy that Governor Walz appointed to take a whole look at this thing said, actually, this goes back like 40 or 50 years. This sort of culture of providing a service instead of protecting our money. So I do understand. I think a lot of these programs are new. And I do understand where you say, like, well, maybe all of these new programs we should wipe out and start over and try to devise them in a way that works out. I think that's understandable. But I think I am really frustrated that the conversations that I think are worth having are the following. Are we too generous? Have we offloaded too many important jobs to the private sector, to nonprofits, instead of having government actually run these things? And is there a way to reorganize our government agencies, our cabinet agencies, whatever, to better protect taxpayer money? Those are the issues that I wish we'd talk about. But instead, it's like, well, in 2021, this didn't happen. Now, the Democrats are responding by saying, Jason, where were all the state Republicans while this fraud was happening? Well, bear in mind, there was a Democrat trifecta in this state. So acting like Republicans should have done something is pretty adorable and very convenient political maneuvering. But let's be real. You don't get to be the party in control of every sector of Minnesota government and then say, well, why didn't the minority say something? Like, give me a break. Give me a break with that. Texters say, Jason, gut the programs is not even close to realistic. So disabled people should crawl in the streets, holding out their hands, begging for help. Of course not. But the main fraud, a lot of the main fraud has been in sort of new programs that were created. But that is the danger in making this nonstop political. And this is why I say the Republicans are overplaying their hand. Lots of texts coming in. Keep it coming in. 651-461-9226. I raise the questions I'd like answered. And none of these are the things that these political committees are taking up. Let's get your calls and your texts, and we'll do it when we come back. Drive Time with DeRusha on a Monday.
Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington.
Staples has hundreds of ways to grow your business this spring, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through June 13th and save up to $150 on all your custom prints. Staples. That was easy.
Gas prices are up. Luther Kia of Bloomington is there for you. It's Jason DeRusha. I love my Kia, and I love Dan Dingman and his team, plus their brand new facility. More room, more service bays, more Kia excellence. EVs, hybrids, the red hot 2027 Telluride. I just test drove it. It is awesome. Get to 35W and $494 and check out 0% financing on Sportages and Sorrentos at LutherKiaofBloomington.com.
We are the National Park Foundation, and together with you, we're creating a future where every person, every generation gets their chance at an unforgettable moment. Donate at nationalparks.org/foundation.
Hey, Jordana, I'm Brian. I'm 58 and single. I have a house, a bunch of investments. Now, I have a sister I'm close to, but no kids or anything tying me down, so I never really worried about planning for the future. Recently, a friend of mine passed away unexpectedly without a will or a trust, and it created a huge mess for the family he left behind. I don't want to be a burden on my sister. I want to be prepared. So why should I choose Gutman Law?
Hi, Brian. Your instincts are correct. If you were to do nothing, the state would decide who's in charge and how to distribute your assets, which is probably not what you want. And your sister will have a lot to sort out by herself. Now, this is the reason why I chose Gutman Law. My family, Matt and Jamie, were so sensitive to the nuances of my situation after a divorce. An estate plan is more than just names and numbers on a piece of paper. It's family. Making it easy on them is what matters most. From healthcare directives to wills to living trusts, Gutman Law can help you determine what type of planning makes sense to protect you and your loved ones. 612-895-1616 or go to mnestatelaw.com. Gutman Law, giving you peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Save big money when you shop at Menards. Transform your home in one weekend with exterior wood stain and sealer from Dutch Boy. It provides one-coat production on decks, fences, siding, and outdoor furniture. It repels rain after just 4 hours of application. That means quicker results, saving you both time and money. Our knowledgeable team is ready to help bring your dreams to life, 1 gallon at a time. Stop by your local Menards today.
Save big money at Menards.
So you're thinking about moving, but don't want everyone to know just yet. When you work with the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty, you can sell your home privately, even selling off market. You'll get top dollar with the Good Neighbor Agent's vast network and database of thousands of buyers, or list the traditional way and get the most money possible with his marketing. Curious what your home is worth? Learn in seconds. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
The words they used were confusing, intimidating, overwhelming, taking over the world.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
We're talking about the House fraud report that came out just this afternoon. They claim it is a bombshell report that exposes the incompetence of the Democrats in the state of Minnesota. I say there's no bombshell. We know. We knew. We've been talking about it for 2 years. Texter says, Jason, in the federal level, Trump and the Republicans have done poorly, and they'll very likely get beaten in the midterms. Here in Minnesota, the Democrats and Walz have done poorly, and the Democrats will probably win the governor and Senate elections again, said John. I think John is right. I think that says more about the incompetence of Republicans in the state and putting forward candidates who have the ability to beat the Democrats. You got to run a good campaign. You have to be a good candidate because you can be frustrated with the people in power. But if the other choice, I mean, it's a sort of a binary situation for most people when they vote. So that's part of the deal. Let's go to Steve in Scandia at 651-461-9226. Steve, do you think Republicans are overplaying their hand on the fraud thing?
Absolutely not. I'm certain you're familiar with the P.T. Barnum quote, "There's no such thing as bad press."
Yes.
As long as the Republicans can get this as the first segment of the most listened to drive time show in the afternoon on Twin Cities Radio, they're not overplaying their hand. This will also be the first story on tonight's WCCO News, KHTP, and KMSP. And so, no, they are absolutely playing this, and, no offense, the media like fiddles. There is no news here that's being reported, but it's being reported as if there is.
No, you're right.
They're playing it well.
If you look, that's a very astute comment, Steve, because if you look at Google right now and you just type in Minnesota fraud, the top stories, the Star Tribune headline, "What to Know About the House's Latest Report." That's pretty good. That's not a loaded headline by the Strip. But KARE 11, House Oversight Committee cites stunning failures in its report on fraud in Minnesota. National Review, Minnesota officials ignored warnings of rampant welfare fraud. So, I mean, the headlines. Now, WCCO TV says House report says officials ignored fraud warning. Walz's office calls Oversight Committee a joke. But then you get the political framing that I worry about, because I do think every Minnesotan, Democrat or Republican, hates fraud. I think maybe there's different motivations as to why people are mad about this particular fraud. But I think if we don't trust that our taxpayer dollars are going to where we think it's going, well, it undermines the whole system. You're like, well, why should I even pay my taxes if you guys aren't going to take care of my money?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Our elected representatives are there to be good stewards of the public funds, and this administration was not.
No doubt.
Acting in that capacity. And I voted for that man twice and was prepared to do it a third time before this scandal broke. But yes, it continues now at this point. They are looking for tertiary damage to other candidates, like you mentioned, Keith Ellison. If they can eliminate or end the career of a sitting governor and someone who has other further political statewide ambitions, like Keith Ellison, by linking him in as part of the problem, they're playing this thing perfectly.
Thanks, Steve.
Too bad.
Dan and Hopkins, you're up on CCO. Do you think?
Hi, Jason.
Go ahead, Dan.
No, I guess you maybe alluded to or said something about perhaps the problem with the candidate. We're not putting up good candidate. Can you explicitly or tell me specifically what you mean?
Yeah.
What's wrong with, for example, Kendall Qualls? I mean, I don't know. I think he's a good
we don't
man. I
know, right?
Know what the problem is.
No, fair point. Like this year's slate, we don't know if they'll be good or not, or if they'll be able to sort of make the case. I think a lot of this about fraud was known and reported on. We talked about it in the last election. I remember doing a segment on saying, is this the kind of thing that should disqualify Tim Walz? And but part of the problem, I think, was, the Scott Jensen, Matt Burke ticket was just got distracted by too many other things, and they weren't able to close the deal. It's tough in this state. There are more Democrats than Republicans in Minnesota, I think. So you have to run a really, really, really good campaign to get that win.
Which means what exactly? You want to just basically you want to surrender your virtue and your values of small government, efficient government, maximum freedom to the residents of the citizens of the state. I guess I don't know what it is that the Democrats have ever been able to offer
Well, why do
Republicans?
why do you
I
think?
don't understand.
Why do you think the Republicans haven't been able to close the deal? Why is it that Tim Pawlenty is the last Republican to win a statewide race?
And you're not going to like this answer, but I think there has been significant voter fraud in the large metropolitan centers, multiple ballots, illegals voting, dead people voting.
Which race? But which race do you think that? If we accept that is true, which race do you think that made a difference?
I believe even in the Jeff Johnson against Tim Walz, the first time that was the case, and every election afterwards, as long as Democrats are running everything, they, they're, I don't know what you call the lever under the gambling table. They're fudging numbers and they're changing
Jeff
votes.
Johnson,
that's my ability.
Yeah, Jeff Johnson lost by 300,000 votes. It was a 10 plus percentage point difference. There is no way.
Okay,
there's no way.
I get it.
Right? There's
Well,
just no
what
way.
about 100? Was there 109% voter turnout in some precincts in Minneapolis?
No, I don't think that's right.
I think there was.
No.
It was extraordinarily high voter turnout with an historical 35% voter turnout historically.
Yeah.
So I think that's where they're using, and that's why they're
all right. So I'll give you
scamming votes.
I'll give you 10,000 votes, Dan. There's 10,000 votes.
It's
The
not-
Republicans
you're right.
are
It's not going to be enough. I get
yeah,
it.
that's the problem. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it. Ralph in Minneapolis, running out of time, but I want to give you a shot. Thanks for calling, Ralph. Go ahead.
Well, I think this is a double-edged sword. Not only did we not put systems in place to monitor all this money, we had 6 or 7 whistleblowers who called in before the big discovery, and the malfeasance there is that they didn't even bother to call these people to get the details. So you don't have a system in place to monitor the program to begin with, and then when you do get a break and people who are conscientious working in the system call you and give you heads up, you don't even bother to call them back.
Yeah.
That's the bad part.
Thanks, Ralph. And at a certain point, you've got to look at that and say, okay, can we stop with the blue panel investigations and start fixing some of this stuff that we already know, that we have House investigations. We have plenty of reporting out there on all this stuff. This from the House today is just grandstanding, and it's trying to take down and make this issue that shouldn't be political. Nobody wants fraud. But by turning it into politics, I worry that you're giving permission to tune it out. Let's break in a minute. We're going to talk with the reporter who exposed really, for me, shocking allegations against the now former police chief of Minneapolis. What Liz Sawyer initially learned and then what she just reported this weekend. You're going to want to hear our conversation with Liz, which is happening in minutes here on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Always online at LutherKiaofBloomington.com.
Man, oh man, I hope you had some Minnesota pork for dinner this weekend. It's Jason here for the Pork Board. So happy to tell their story because this time of year, summertime in Minnesota, it's about coming together, hanging out with friends, backyard, patio, picnic. 3,000 family farmers, every corner of Minnesota. That's who you're supporting every time you go to that grocery store, every time you fire up that grill. Make yourself a nice, juicy pork chop or a delicious pork burger, smoky sausages, bacon to start your weekend day. How about those perfect ribs? So good. And weeknight dinners, I know you're busy, parents, right now. It's about the start of the summer camp season and you're driving kids around. Think about pork tenderloin. Very quick and easy. Most grocery stores have it pre-marinated. So do your butcher shops, ready to go. You just throw it on the grill, throw it in the oven. Maybe you need some more inspiration. How about tastewhatporkcando.com? That's the website that has recipes galore. Get your grocery store, butcher shop. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
Thought-provoking.
This deal with HCMC for HCMC is actually the very least our lawmakers could do.
Strong voices, sharp opinions.
Donald Trump makes his decision on law enforcement, on justice, when it benefits him.
Where you don't have to be loud to be bold.
I would like to get rid of mail-in voting, move Election Day to Saturday, and say show up or shut up.
Minnesota's radio station. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Dave Lee for Aquarius, your independent authorized Connecticut dealer. Are you ready for the worry-free water your family deserves? This summer, trade in your old water softener and trade up to a Connecticut system. Say goodbye to hard water, rust stains, and contaminants. And hello to worry-free water with an additional $500 off on top of some great summer sale pricing. Schedule your free water test today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. If you're struggling with mental health, you should know that there are resources out there that can help. And it's okay to talk about it if you need to. One place to get started with information is loveyourmindtoday.org. Loveyourmindtoday.org offers a range of guides, instructions, and insights for dealing with difficult situations or getting through a tough time. If you're struggling with mental health, get the help you need, because most people out here really care. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
When I was diagnosed with Hodgkin lymphoma, I had so many questions. I didn't even know that it was cancer. Now I do. It is cancer. Blood cancer. It's actually one of more than 100 different types, and they're all treated differently. Now, unlike some other forms of cancer, usually there's no tumor. You can't screen for it to prevent it, and the symptoms can look like other things, so it could be hard to diagnose. I had a fever for weeks. I was so tired all the time. I didn't feel like eating or doing anything else for that matter. And I know that this can feel scary. But if you know what to look out for, you'll know what to tell your doctor. And you'll feel more empowered to take the next steps. Like getting in touch with the people who know the ins and outs and can help with everything blood cancer related. Blood Cancer United. They work one-on-one with each person who reaches out to answer questions and offer resources. Blood Cancer United was there for me, and they can be there for you.
Go to bloodcancerunited.org to learn more.
Talking about guns with others might not always feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Flint Hills Resources Pine Bend Refinery in Rosemont produces important transportation fuels used throughout the Midwest, but they're also active in the community. They support many programs and organizations that make Minnesota better. Go to FHR.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
And brought to you by Flint Hills Resources. You're going to find your slowdowns place North 35W Lake Street into Minneapolis, South 35W jamming up as you make way into Burnsville, moving across the Minnesota River Bridge. 52 northbound slows across the Lafayette Bridge over on the east side. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, let's do the forecast. It is kind of a humid, cloudy day, but here's some sun now. Here's Chief Meteorologist Chris Shea.
A quiet night tonight with a partly cloudy sky. Yeah, it still stays humid. 67 the overnight low. Partly cloudy tomorrow. It's going to be hot and humid. This should be our warmest day with a high near 91. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible overnight. Wednesday, another hot and humid one with a high near 90. It does get windy, and we're keeping an eye on the threat of some severe storms in the afternoon.
All right, right now in downtown Minneapolis, it's been breezy today. It is a little sunny. I don't know. Weird day, right? 80 degrees on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
So bold. It's adventurous. It's edgy. You know, it's
risky. On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Brian O'Hara is gone as the police chief of Minneapolis, but the damage left in the wake and the reasons for the departure still reverberating. In our last segment, we talked about maybe the misuse of the term bombshell by the U.S. House Committee. I do think some of the reporting of our next guest is squarely in the bombshell category. Liz Sawyer has been all over these investigations, these allegations into the now former Minneapolis police chief for the Minnesota Star-Tribune. And she joins us in studio today to talk a little bit about what she learned. And really this report this weekend, Liz, that has so much information about really, I think the large question a lot of us were left with, which is, okay, he resigned because he interfered with the investigation into himself. But like, what was it? What did he do besides like the unproven allegation that he had affairs with employees? Thanks for coming in.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
This weekend, you reported a number of allegations that were in an unfiled lawsuit, which as a former reporter, I would be a little nervous about an unfiled lawsuit because you could say, now you can say whatever you want in a lawsuit. You can say whatever you want at maybe times two in an unfiled lawsuit. What made you to decide to report this stuff?
Well, people make allegations all the time, whether they're filed in court or not. We report on allegations against police officers all the time that are in complaints, sometimes that are not made public. When we obtained this document, we took it very seriously. We only reported on a portion of it, but we chose to do so because of the timing and the seriousness of the allegations in it. The timing, it was sent to city attorneys 2 full weeks before former Chief O'Hara was renominated by the mayor. And it contained both things that we know to be true, including the existence of this recording that prompted the reopening of the misconduct investigation to the chief. But it also included some new allegations we had not heard before, including some very serious ones that we thought the public had a right to know, and wondered whether the city had taken any steps.
The allegation that really jumped out to me is an allegation that the chief had a drunk driving crash that was cleaned up by his driver, who has since been put on leave because of some of the allegations that have come out over the last couple of weeks. Lay that out for us.
Yeah. According to this department whistleblower, who was fundamental to reopening the investigation into Chief O'Hara, the chief's driver had confessed to him essentially that the chief had gotten into an incident sometime prior to June 2024, and that he had struck something with his city-owned department vehicle, and the driver had gotten it fixed, quote, off the books at a mechanic, and no one knew about it. There were never any criminal charges. There was never any report about it. So that's something that the driver allegedly told the whistleblower and was contained in this document. Now, to be clear, I have not been able to independently verify that claim, and the city says that they have received no information to support that allegation, but it was reported to city attorneys in this document.
Yeah, and why would they have information to support it if indeed the driver did a good job of covering it up and bringing the vehicle to his buddy who's a mechanic, and it all was done quietly?
Exactly right. Who would be filing a complaint about that? Who else would even know about it other than the driver and maybe the mechanic?
Right. Who would have good reason to keep his mouth shut too. Like, I mean, there's no reason to think there would be. The fact that there's no like paper trail on this doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
Liz Sawyer is with us from the Minnesota Star-Tribune. So that stood out. And the other part of this is sort of the special position that this driver seemed to have. And this driver is not just a driver. He's an officer in the Minneapolis Police Department, but he was really protected by the chief, according to the whistleblower, right?
Right. This officer, Abdi Samad Ahmed, he's since been relieved of duty, and that only happened, 3 days after the chief resigned and after we started asking questions for this recent story, frankly, where we said, given the allegations against him, why is he not on administrative leave? And then action was taken that same day.
Coincidence? I don't know. It seems like when Liz Sawyer comes calling, they were like, uh-oh.
But the driver, according to this draft lawsuit, held a pretty high position there. The chief had hand selected him to be essentially his community liaison, but he went with him to crime scenes, to press conference, to community events. Frankly, he was sort of his shadow. Every time you saw the chief out in the community, you often saw the driver with him. And according to this document, the driver bragged even to people that he was untouchable because of everything he knew about the chief and the text messages that he had.
So, to a certain degree, the chief has resigned. The chief's misconduct, I can see why some people would say, who cares now? It's over. What I care about is, with all of this smoke, how does the mayor renominate him? How does his supervisor, what did he know? Todd, the head of the public safety department. That's why this story is still relevant, right? I think it's easy to push back and say, like, Liz, like, this is old news. The guy's gone. But it's not old news.
A couple things. I mean, how much money has the city spent to investigate the chief and the driver? This original allegation came in April of 2025, and there were 2 separate investigations. We believe one is still ongoing about the driver. That could be tens of thousands of dollars of taxpayer money that the city has spent. But also, we still don't know everything that the city knew. Yes, the mayor has said repeatedly, I didn't know then what I know now, and that as soon as I had substantiated findings from this external law firm, I took action. But my story from this weekend shows, well, city attorneys knew more than what we originally thought at a bare minimum. And did they escalate that information? What was done with it? Because my source is telling me that someone with direct knowledge is saying, listen, no one did any further vetting even after this was brought to their attention.
Interesting. So you could look at it and say, why was this stuff being sort of shut down at the city attorney level, where somebody like me is saying, why would the mayor renominate this chief with all of this available? Maybe the better question is, why was this stuck in the city attorney's office?
Well, if it was not, in fact, passed on to the mayor, which they say it was not, that he was unaware of this document, even the existence of this document, then why not?
Why not?
Because one could argue that some of the stuff in there could be disqualifying to this candidate that he then 2 weeks later put before the council.
Yeah, and if that is truly how it played out, if I'm the mayor, I'm pissed. I'm like, these guys really hung me out to dry by not giving me this information. Of course, I don't know all the legalities, right? Of like, are you allowed? But I certainly hope you'll be able to share this stuff with the mayor. And with Todrick Barnett, right?
Right. And we don't know who all it was shared with. We've asked that question. And to be fair, the city says we get these kinds of documents all the time. They're used as negotiating tools and in this case, the whistleblower's attorney was trying to negotiate on the interview process. Right. So there is context about it, the way in which it was sent. However, there were on its face things in there that were credible, and there were things in there that would be concerning that the public would like an answer to.
Liz Sawyer is with us from the Minnesota Star-Tribune. You've been working on this story for a long time. There have been rumors around the chief for a long time, but there are always rumors about, it's a difficult thing as an outsider to say, like, all right, do I give credence to these rumors, or is it like being a police chief is a political job? There are always going to be people who are launching bombs at a chief, trying to take him or her down based on whatever. I guess, can you give a little bit of the timeline of how long you've been working on this stuff?
Yeah.
And how you knew it was like, this is more than sour grapes.
I've been looking into this for over a year. My husband will tell you I've probably been further down the rabbit hole than any other reporter in the state on it. But that's because I cover the Minneapolis Police Department. I have been covering the police force for over 6 years. I talk to a lot of officers all the time, and there has been a constant drip of rumors about Chief O'Hara, frankly, since he started. Cops love to gossip. A lot of people know that. And I have had to try and wade through all of these rumors to determine what is real and what's not. But it wasn't until last spring, when a formal investigation was prompted by this anonymous complaint, that things started to feel real and serious. And so we have been on it ever since then. That first investigation closed with unsubstantiated findings. And so we did not publish a story at that point. And then it reopened. And that's really what led us to start publishing a bunch of things. And frankly, his complaints began to balloon in the last 6 months. He already had more than any of his predecessors. Some of that may have been political. It is true that some came out as a result of Operation Metro Surge. But he had 30 complaints, 22 of which remained open at the time of his renomination. And that is an astronomical number compared to all of the prior police chiefs.
Next steps for your reporting, next questions you're looking into?
I think we still have a lot to find out about who knew what when. I think we still have questions on that and what will happen with this driver who's now been relieved of duty. Does he in fact have the kind of evidence that he's alleged to have? And we'll see what happens with a permanent replacement. The interim chief, Billy Peterson, has said that he does not intend to seek the permanent role. So who does want to step up internally? And if they have a national search, what kind of candidates are we going to get?
Yeah. Liz Sawyer, great reporting. It's really important. And it is a reminder in a world where we have, and I like the social media commenters and the kind of gossip spreaders. I enjoy some gossip too, but it does show some of the ethics and the decision-making that goes on at an organization like the Star Tribune, that you would spend a year on this stuff because it's people's lives and careers, and it's important.
Yeah, we take it seriously.
Thank you for that. Liz Sawyer with us on CCO 349. Back in a minute with a story about a lemonade stand from this weekend. Inflation is hitting everywhere. We'll be right back.
Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, Jason here. Summertime is near. And for me, it's a time where I reflect on how much my life has changed over the last 4 years and how much Livia has been a part of that. 45 pounds gone for me. Crazy. And to think, honestly, the biggest success is the fact that about 3.5 years after I hit my goal, that weight is still gone. Think about this for your life. What could change by the 4th of July? For many Livia clients, you could lose 15 pounds or more by the 4th of July. You could have more energy. You could feel healthier. You could be showing up with greater confidence. Livia does it by giving a personalized plan, expert nutrition advice, and it's one-on-one support every step of the way. I needed that. I'm a food critic. I'm hosting this radio show, parent, all this stuff, trying to keep on track. I could not do it alone. They've been doing it for nearly 17 years right here in our community, helping people improve their health and achieve lasting results. Do it today. Reach out today. What are you waiting for? 4th of July, you could be a different person, or at least you could be more like yourself. I think that's the better way to think about it. Livia.com. You're getting 8 weeks free if you join today. 855-GO-LIVIA. You are one decision away from feeling your best.
As veterans, we've dealt with noise. From chains clanking as they're clamped onto cargo, to orders coming down the chain of command. We can handle that kind of noise. Back home, the noise is different. It seems like everyone's talking all at once and over each other because they just want to be heard. They're taking selfies and oversharing. But we know that it's not about hearing. It's about listening to what's actually happening with our fellow veterans, understanding each other because we share the same experiences, the same vocabulary, following the same paths that others have walked. If only we can pick up the trail. Make the Connection is a place for veterans to hear stories from other veterans. Listen and learn about why you're not alone at maketheconnection.net.
Why be at the forefront of childhood cancer research? At St. Jude, we do it because every innovation we make is a moment we give to children with cancer everywhere. But we can't do it without you. Help St. Jude give children with cancer more moments. Moments that can last a lifetime. Learn more at stjude.org.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from Knicks and the Ad Council.
Gas prices are up. Luther Kia of Bloomington is there for you. It's Jason DeRusha. I love my Kia, and I love Dan Dingman and his team, plus their brand new facility. More room, more service bays, more Kia excellence. EVs, hybrids, the red-hot 2027 Telluride. I just test drove it. It is awesome. Get to 35W and 494 and check out 0% financing on Sportages and Sorrentos at LutherKiaofBloomington.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for you. 494 is coming from the Bush Lake Road area heading into 35W. If you're traveling north 35W to Minneapolis, that slows back at 42nd Street, 35E northbound. Some slowing right out of St. Paul as you head up toward Roselawn. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Partly cloudy tonight, low of 67. Tomorrow it's going to be gross, 91, hot and humid. Wednesday, afternoon rain and possible storms. Looking at 90, we get cooler and more comfortable. Finally, starting Thursday. 80 and humid, air quality alert in effect. I love an air quality alert on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha, where the conversation's always in drive. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington on News Talk 830 WCCO.
So this weekend, I'm out doing the Artisan Parade of Homes. And they hired us, me and the station, to do a little social media video. So there's an Instagram thing if you want to check it out. But one of the homes we went to yesterday was in Medina. And in Medina, there was a lemonade stand. Now, this is the Artisan Tour of Homes, right, Dan? So the beauty of this tour is these are multi-million-dollar homes, crazy homes. This house, I think, was for sale. It was like $5.2 million.
The kind of home you could only afford maybe one or two of.
Correct. But there were kids at a lemonade stand right next door. And I have a policy on lemonade stands. It is, I always stop. I always buy. We need to encourage entrepreneurship, kids doing some work, trying to earn some money instead of just get it. I love a lemonade stand. How much should a glass of lemonade cost at a lemonade stand? What's the right number for this?
$2.
$2? I think it should be $1. $2 for lemonade?
Wait, it's $2.
It's like a little Dixie cup, like.
What's that little? It's not like a solo cup. It's a little.
In between.
Now who's exactly?
In between.
Okay. I think in today's day and age, $2 is perfectly reasonable.
They were selling bags of chips as well. And in the car, well, they had a Venmo thing, which felt wrong. I'm not
That's
Venmoing.
fantastic.
I'm not Venmoing you at the lemonade stand. $3 for a bag of chips.
That seems aggressive. Although, again, if you're right next to a $5 million home.
Well, yeah, I guess you know your audience. But it's broke people coming to tour the home. Who do you think is touring the Artisan home? People who cannot afford an Artisan home, right? Well, maybe there are some rich people. I don't know. sure people thought I was one of the rich people. I'm the one belly aching about $3 chips. And now I'm going to tell you to go to Continental Diamond. Why don't you go buy me a diamond ring? Continental Diamond Time 358.
Miss Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
15 years in prison for a crash that killed 3. 12 and a half years for killing a child, all caused by marijuana-impaired drivers. If you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Your news, your voice, your station. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. President Trump is trying to keep his negotiations and ceasefire with Iran from literally and physically blowing up. Iran and Israel say they have stopped attacks. ABC's Jonathan Karl.
The president did an interview with the Financial Times, and he said that Benjamin Netanyahu would have to go along with whatever peace deal he gets with Iran. He won't have any choice. I call the shots. But despite all of that, Israel obviously went on and attacked Iran.
Ukraine says Russian drones attacked a nuclear storage site near Chernobyl, but radiation levels are stable after nearly 500,000 Russian troops have been killed in the war. This from ABC's Ian Pannell in Moscow.
We have managed to speak to some people here, including some who said, look, they supported Vladimir Putin. They thought that there was a justification for the start of the war, but now there are doubts.
Security is boosted for President Trump's visit to attend the third game of the NBA championship just hours away in New York. The NYPD has moved the Knicks watch party outside Madison Square Garden for security reasons. Matt McCool with the Secret Service.
You will see Secret Service, police, and special agents, transportation security officers, federal air marshals, and the NYPD officers throughout the area.
The Knicks lead the series 2-0 for the San Antonio Spurs. An offshore magnitude 7.8 earthquake hit the southern Philippines today, killing at least 35 people, injuring more than 140 others, officials say. Ohio police say an 18-year-old is in custody for questioning in connection to the mass shooting over the weekend at a summer festival in Toledo. 12 people were injured. March through May was the second warmest spring on record, behind 2012 in the lower 48 states of the U.S. That from a new report from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Texas had their warmest springs since recording began in 1895. On Wall Street, the major indexes were mixed at the start of trading. You're listening to ABC News.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 83 degrees at 4:02. Good afternoon. I'm Mark Fry. We are hearing today from the Department of Justice on the Vance Boelter case. Boelter faces 6 federal charges, including stalking, murder, and firearms offenses, and the assassination of Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, and for shooting and injuring John Hoffman and his wife. Some of those charges could have resulted in the death penalty, but a Department of Justice spokesperson saying today that's no longer on the table. University of St. Thomas professor Mark Osler says it could be a disappointment for those who wanted to see the most extreme punishment inflicted.
That's one thing that prosecutors have to deal with all the time is
the expectations of victims' family members who have undergone a terrible tragedy is a part of the mix when you're dealing with criminal law. And here, when the goalposts seem to be shifting, it's probably hard for them.
Boelter's next court appearance is scheduled for October. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison downplaying a congressional report that accuses him and Governor Tim Walz of doing nothing to prevent fraud in the state. Ellison telling Channel 5's Tom Hauser on the WCCO Morning News that he has not read the 200-page report, but has a good idea what's in it.
It sounds like it's partisan electioneering from using official resources, which is really unfortunate. Here's the thing, we've prosecuted over 340 people and convicted them for Medicaid fraud.
Both Ellison and Walz last year testified before the House committee that drafted the report. $15 million worth of reconstruction efforts are getting underway today at George Floyd Square in South Minneapolis.
Construction crews have started work at 38th in Chicago to redesign the intersection for bus traffic while preserving the site's iconic memorial. However, the project has sparked local concern over potential property assessments, leaving homeowners worried they might be forced to foot the bill for summer and fall construction. City council members are scheduled to address these funding anxieties later this week, with the entire project slated for completion late next year. At George Floyd Square, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And there is plenty of reaction today from those living near George Floyd Square, where that major renovation began. Lane Brown with the Central Area Neighborhood Development Organization says many are concerned about the project's costs, with some special property tax assessments running thousands of dollars.
I think it's kind of horrific to consider that residents and businesses here would have to continue to hold the weight of what happened in this intersection when it happened to the entire city, really, if not a global majority at this point.
And it's 4:05, traffic and weather on the way.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Any more of a stall in the traffic lane, South 35W is midway toward 36th Street. Use caution as you head that way. Looks like patrol is on the scene. They're working now to get it cleared off to the shoulder, but traffic remains tight as you come out of downtown Minneapolis. Eastbound 394 slows from Penn to downtown. Highway 10 westbound, not a bad ride. 35W up into Anoka, moving along at the posted speeds. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
It stays humid tonight. We'll see some breaks in the clouds, call it partly cloudy with an overnight low of 67. Tomorrow is going to be the hottest day so far this year. Partly cloudy, still humid, heading for a high near 91. We could see some scattered showers and thunderstorms overnight into Wednesday morning. Keeping an eye on the storm threat Wednesday afternoon. It will be hot, windy, and humid with those storms likely firing up in the afternoon.
All right, thank you, Chris. Right now we've got sunny skies and 81 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
From morning headlines and the midday conversation to the afternoon scuttlebutt and recap, this is where the news day comes together. News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, here's Jason DeRusha.
Who do you think hates the other guys more? Do suburbanites hate the cities more? Or do city people hate suburbanites more? 651-461-9226. There's a reason I was thinking about this today. And this is always a debate, right? I feel like we have never been in a time in Minnesota where we've had such geographical warfare. I frame this by suburbs and cities because we know that everybody in greater Minnesota just hates the cities right now. Sort of a weird thing, right? Today, in the paper, some city journalists were trying to figure out why people in Woodbury like Woodbury. Sort of the story. Where You kind of look and you're like, is it that startling that people in Woodbury would like the fact that they live in Woodbury? I feel like there's always this tension, right? The city people look at suburbanites and think, man, the suburbs are boring. Boring. Nothing exciting, nothing to do. Everybody's the same. And then the suburbanites look at the city people and think, ugh, like, why are you guys so, I don't want to ride the bus, or I don't know. What is the suburbanite hate? I guess mostly it's crime. It's crime. You guys there's all this crime and you guys can't even. The headline, no downtown, no regrets. How Woodbury made convenience a source of civic pride. Subhead, outsiders sometimes struggle to define Woodbury, now the 7th largest city in Minnesota. But residents love its parks, trails, schools, and community. This story's written like it's such a, what? Could you imagine? Could you, 651-461-9226. It just got me thinking about this dynamic. I think it's a weird dynamic here. When I grew up in suburban Chicago, there was a sense that if you lived in a first or second ring suburb, you were from Chicago. I don't know that there was Arlington Heights pride per se. You were from Chicago. The sports teams were the Chicago Bears and the Chicago Cubs and the Chicago Blackhawks. And you get the idea. And here, we're not the Minneapolis anything. We're the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're the Minnesota Wild, the Minnesota Twins. And so and maybe I'm wrong. I just detect this antagonism between the cities and the suburbs. And part of this plays out, and you know that this is a longtime frustration of mine. As somebody who lives in the suburbs, now I live in downtown St. Paul, but my house is still in Maple Grove. As a suburbanite, I love the cities. I love the cities. But I feel like the cities don't love me back. In the cities, you feel like there's this sort of disdain for somebody who drives a car. You're driving your car. You're like, oh, you're the worst. We got to figure out how to make it so you can't park anywhere. And, there's just sort of this, we don't need you attitude that I get from people who live in the city. It used to be, I think, that suburbanites had a more positive view of Minneapolis and St. Paul, but that all changed post-COVID. And I think the COVID restrictions really split our community into the cities and everybody else. And I do sometimes worry how we recover from that. And maybe part of the recovery is an anthropological survey to try to figure out, what is it about Woodbury? What could people possibly like? If you are a suburbanite, what do you love about your suburb? 651-461-9226. Mark says on YouTube, the city goes to the suburbs all the time. What's in Minneapolis? Just sports teams? Because Minneapolis wanted all the teams just paying for it. I'm not sure that I agree that city people go to the suburbs all the time. I know that there are some in their bubbles that think like nobody wants to go to the city anymore. It's just not true. I mean, this weekend, the city was absolutely popping, both cities. St. Paul had Grand Old Day. Minneapolis had the Prince Block Party. There are just people everywhere.
Yeah, the pencil sharpening. Come on.
The pencil sharpening, yes. Woodbury would never. Woodbury would never. Andrew says, as a Woodbury resident, I hate the western suburbs more than I hate downtowners. I think that's very, as a Maple Grove resident, I will say that Minnetonka and Wayzata deserve your disdain. Just terrible, terrible people there.
Gee, I wonder what Minnetonka and Wayzata would say about Maple Grove.
Oh, I'm sure we're the worst. I don't know.
I grew up in Maple Grove, but that was before it's what it is now. And I now live in an inner-rig suburb in St. Louis Park. And it's been interesting. I've been reminded lately a couple of times that there is a special kind of snobbishness that some, not all, but some that live in the city hold for anything that is not the city, right? I referred to myself the other day on the air as a city kid. And then I mentioned that I live in St. Louis Park. Oh, Dan thinks that the suburbs are city. Oh, gosh, I can't listen to this anymore. Really? Basically, what I'm saying is I don't live out in greater Minnesota.
Right, right.
I live in the metro area. But if you don't live in the city, I mean, I can walk and get to the Minneapolis border from where I live. That's how close I am to the city. But that doesn't count because you're not in the city.
Yeah.
And you don't quite get it. I live in that suburb because it's close to where I work in downtown Minneapolis. It's a 10-minute drive. And yet in a suburban area like that, little more room, little more breathing room, not quite as busy, not quite as noisy. I get kind of the best of both worlds is how I feel about it. But if you don't live in the city proper, if you're not 1,000% on board, this is, it's part and parcel of our politics, right? You're either 1,000% with us or you're the enemy. And I feel that a little bit when it comes to city folk.
Well, remember, there was a stretch last year where I was living in part-time, like in an apartment across the street here in downtown Minneapolis. And when some of like the left wing social media people found out that I was taking up a piece of housing stock in a city where there's a shortage of housing, I was then presented as the enemy. I'm like, which way do you guys want it? Which way do you Minneapolis people want it? Do you want people from the suburbs and from the rest of the state to like your city and come here and spend money and go to the parks and contribute to the nonprofits and do all the things? Or do you want us just to stay out?
Yes.
I think it is a little yes. Texters coming in at 651-461-9226. Judy from Clearwater. I live in greater Minnesota. I didn't know I was supposed to hate the Twin City. Judy, you're not supposed to hate the Twin City. I do think that the logical approach to this would be if you live in the suburbs, one of the main attractions of the suburbs that Dan just laid out is that you're close to the cities. So you should want to cheer for the cities because otherwise you're a suburb of what? Of despair, of failure. Like, you need strong cities. I do think the flip side, though, is that in this community, the cities need the suburbs. And they act like they don't, but they do. Our cities are not big enough. Minneapolis is 440,000 residents. You need more people. You need suburbanites. You need greater Minnesota to come down. And people in the city could be a little less jackassish about it. Now, a city resident says, I think you're completely wrong. I would say it's not the residents of Minneapolis, at least not the homeowners or landowners. It's the renters in the city council that the city council is treating all of us with disdain. Maybe.
There's something to that, but I would also hesitate to just.
I think there's a lot of homeowners with the same, like,
Exactly.
Screw you, you're a suburbanite, you're just sucking up all the resources and using all the fuel and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I wouldn't split, but it's renters versus homeowners.
Maybe.
I don't think that's an accurate border to draw.
Excelsior resident weighing in. Oh, Excelsior is like a unicorn, though, right? You got the lake, you got the shops, you got the small town feel. Texter says, don't have to leave. It's perfect. Prior Lake coming through. I love it. Small town feel. These are good suburbs. Prior Lake and Excelsior, sort of cheating. You got a lake, you got farmers market, you got cute, quaint downtown. Pretty good stuff. Everyone outside the city hates the city, says a 651er. And everyone in the city hates Edina.
That's close. I would amend it to say that everyone that doesn't live in Edina hates Edina.
Don't you think Edina hates themselves a little bit?
No, I think they love it. I think they love it. Everybody's thinking about us.
All right, explain it away. 651-461-9226. If you're a suburbanite, What's the appeal so we can help the city people understand what's going on? Drive Time with DeRusha coming at you from the heart of downtown Minneapolis here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, did you guys spend your weekend calling up 16 different insurance agencies to see if you're getting the best deal on insurance? You didn't? It seems like it'd be fun. Comparison shopping to make sure you have the best price, the best coverage. Home and auto insurance, we know that's a big expense line for all of us, and we're trying to watch our pennies. So doing that would make a lot of sense. No, it would make no sense. It's Jason here. I have a better way for you. It is called The Canopy Group. Great local company. And one call unlocks 16 different companies. 16 different legit big-time insurance agencies. Some are big names you know. Some are names that maybe you wouldn't recognize. All of them have been vetted by the incredible local team at the Canopy Group to make sure that you will get incredible service, incredible coverage, if you should ever need it. Now, the Canopy Group also will find the perfect combo for you. And when I reached out to them a couple years ago, they saved me $820 in the first year, and they improved my coverage on my home and my autos. Pretty good. 800-967-3389 is the number to call. That's the number I called. If you want to do it online, you can. TheCanopyGroup.com.
96%. That's how many of Minnesota's 24,000 corn farms are family-owned and operated. They aren't big, faceless corporations, but moms and dads, brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, and cousins. Together they innovate, implement new technologies, and steward our natural resources, all to ensure that we have a safe, healthy food and fuel supply and provide for future generations. 96%. That's Minnesota family corn farming. That's your Minnesota corn farmer. Learn more at mncorn.org.
Hey, you! Yeah, I'm talking to you! We got a show and it's Guys and Dolls at Chanhassen and Dinner Theaters. It's terrific and delicious because you got dinner and a show. Don't take my word, everybody's loving it. The Pioneer Press called it a must-see. Star Tribune called it eye-popping and blazing with brilliance. I heard a lady from Eden Prairie say this is the best show she's ever seen at the Chan. Grab your doll or your guy. Get your family over here for Guys and Dolls. Visit ChanhassenDT.com.
This summer, make the lake more than a place you visit. Make it where the kids learn to cast a line. Where sunset cruises turn into family stories. Make this summer the one your family remembers with Bennington. Bennington is Minnesota's #1 selling pontoon brand. And right now, there's over 500 boats in stock at trusted dealerships across the state. Built for cruising, fishing, entertaining, skiing, and water sports, Bennington gives Minnesota families premium comfort, craftsmanship, and the kind of quality you can feel every time you step on board. New Bennington pontoons start at $29,999, and Tri-Tunes start at $49,999, with affordable monthly payment options and competitive financing available. During the month of June, mention this ad and receive $500 off your next Bennington purchase from participating Bennington dealers, including Frontier Marine, Hallberg Marine, Mankato Motorsports, Power Lodge, Miller Marine, Rays Marine, River Valley Marine, and Westries Marine of Wilmer. Bennington. Minnesota summer starts on the water.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Drive Time with DeRusha.
He creates a narrative that is advantageous to him. And frankly, at times it's disturbing.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, we're talking about the city-suburb sort of dysfunctional relationship. Mike is on the line from Minneapolis. Mike, why do you hate the suburbs?
I love the suburbs. I think they're great. They're just great because of their proximity to Minneapolis. That's the primary driver. If you just wanted to live in a place with 40,000 people or whatever, you can move to St. Cloud. Like, the reason the suburbs are great is because they're close to Minneapolis.
Do you think that most city people like are glad when suburbanites come to the city, or are they disdainful of, people in their SUVs and that sort who want to park?
I mean, I think you should be ready to, at least capable of parallel parking if you're going to come into the city. But
I think that's fair. That should there be a test before we let, Betty from Andover in downtown Minneapolis? Should there be a parallel parking test?
Right. If she's coming with like a Suburban and she's going to take up, 1.5 spots in a limited space, I think that could be criticized. But people from the suburbs that want to come to the city and enjoy themselves should. And Minneapolis is a great place to visit, and we welcome those visitors that recognize that Minneapolis is a great place to be. But if you're just going to, talk about how terrible it is and how it's falling apart and burning down, like, stay in the suburbs.
I do think that I agree with your premise here, because I always say, if you didn't have Minneapolis or St. Paul to a lesser degree, no offense / offense, St. Paul, but if you didn't have those, you're a suburb of what? You're a suburb of nothing. So suburbanites and greater Minnesota should want these cities to do well, I would think. But I also do think I sometimes feel a little like many in Minneapolis feel like they don't need anybody else. They don't need the suburbanites coming in to mess up their city. They should not cater to outsiders.
I disagree with that to a certain extent. I think the frustration with people in the city is people that want to hate on Minneapolis. Like, if you come in because you like Minneapolis and you want to experience, the best restaurants in the state, the best entertainment in the state, the chain of lakes, all the great things that exist in Minneapolis, and you're positive about it, we want you to come. I think the frustration of residents is that there's so much hatred towards Minneapolis that we have a little bit of a chip on our shoulder sometimes.
Yeah. Which suburb is the worst, do you think?
I mean, I love them, but I would say St. Paul is probably the worst suburb because they think they're not a suburb. Like, they're my favorite suburb, but they have this unrealistic idea of what they are. I mean, a suburb is a smaller city nearby the main city, which is Minneapolis.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue. Thank you, Mike. There goes Mike. Is St. Paul the best suburb of Minneapolis? For sure. And I live in St. Paul. Is St. Paul, this is a topic for another day. Is St. Paul a city or a suburb?
Of course, it's a city. It's the capital city of the state, for crying out loud.
Yeah. Why can't a suburb be the capital? The original capital is still
because the idea of the suburb is it exists in relation to the city. St. Paul doesn't exist because it's next to Minneapolis. That's not why St. Paul exists as a city.
Texture echoing your view, adding St. Paul is the GD capital. Texter saying its simplest form, Minneapolis is Gotham City, suburbs is not Gotham City. Texter from Edina. I live in Edina, but only because my husband maintains the building we live in. He was born and raised in South Minneapolis. We're Minneapolis. We like living in Edina, but we can't stand most of the people we live around. Mick is in Minneapolis. Mick, do you agree with Mike that St. Paul is the largest suburb of Minneapolis?
I've tried to refrain from making that joke because I have a lot of friends that now live in Minneapolis from St. Paul, and they tell me how offended they are by that.
It's a good bit. I think it's a good bit. It's funny. I like it. What do you think about this dynamic? What do you want to say, Mick?
I have one thing to say, and that's I'm middle-aged, and I spent my first half of my life in the suburbs, half of it now in Minneapolis. I prefer Minneapolis, and I think that the difference between the two is the fear. Out in the suburbs, people fear. They don't take risks with their jobs. They don't take risks with their personal lives. They don't take risks, period. And they think that we're crazy for living in the city because they're afraid of the crime. And if I live in the city, and I have for decades, and I'm not worried about my safety. I mean, there's areas you don't go to, I guess, or you don't act a certain way. You don't call yourself out. If you just use common sense, this is a very safe city.
Yeah.
And it's a fun city with so much to offer. The lakes, the trails, the restaurants, the theater, live music everywhere.
I think there is something to this. And whenever I try to explain this to people, Mick, I talk about that life is always about sort of an ongoing rolling risk analysis, a risk reward analysis. And for me, the reward of like the rich experiences and unique experiences you can have in a city is worth it. And it's not even close. I do understand that equation is maybe getting a little bit more difficult for people, largely, I think, because the quality of experiences in the suburbs and in greater Minnesota has improved so much over the last 5 years. So they do have more things near their home that we didn't have when I moved here 23 years ago. Now people do have it. To me, I still am a city guy. Like, I like coming to the city, but
it's still a culture of fear out there, though.
It is.
They don't want
right.
to try new things. They don't want to try new things. I'm stereotyping, obviously.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And when I lived in the suburbs, I didn't know my neighbors. I tried to get to know them. In the city, everywhere I've lived in the city, I've known everybody for a block radius.
Oh, interesting.
Because they all come up and introduce themselves to me. Because people don't fear me, and I don't fear them. And I think that's part of it. The old saying, too, applies to the suburbs, that Minnesotans are so polite, they'll give you directions anywhere except their home. And you really find that true in the suburbs, more so than you do in the city.
Thanks, Mick. It's interesting. Mick's experience is interesting because my experience is different. Like in Maple Grove, our neighborhood, we knew everybody. We had progressive dinners on our block. We watched our neighbors' kids. We mowed our neighbors' lawn when they were out of town. We all on our block took care of each other. And I know more city people who don't know their neighbors at all. But it's probably block by block. We all want like the easy way.
Well, and it's individual experience too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in the same building for 20 years, and I know the guy who lives above me is Doug, and I don't know anybody else in the building, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah. We're just kidding about St. Paul, everybody. Like,
I don't think you are.
I live there.
I know, and that's why it hurts so bad that you would disrespect the capital city of the state like that.
Jason, St. Paul was founded over 10 years before Minneapolis.
Yeah, Jason.
What does St. Paul have that Minneapolis doesn't? A big, beautiful city right across the river from it.
Wouldn't
it be easier if we all stopped hating on each other and just hated Edina? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Very fun. In a minute, we are going to talk about the Timberwolves' new uniform release. I could not believe that 7,000 people bought a $1 ticket to go to a uniform reveal party. And it seems like most of them showed up too. Amazing moment. We're going to go inside this process. It is shockingly detailed. All of the rules and all of the regulations and all of the thought that went into this rebrand. 3 new uniforms unveiled. We'll talk with the chief marketing guy behind the whole project in just a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today, or always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com. Some places are open 24/7, like that Greasy Spoon all-night diner. A few pharmacies, a gas station here and there, the occasional grocery store. Oh, and of course, the casino. You know what else is open for you to use 24/7? The CCO voice message feature on the Odyssey app. Just click on the microphone right next to the Listen Live button and leave us a take anytime you want. When your best thoughts can't wait for the talk and text line, try the voice message feature right there on the free Odyssey app.
Losing a loved one is difficult enough as it is. If you work with the right real estate agent, you won't have any extra stress. The only one I recommend is my friend, John Schuster. It's Vanita here. Betty just sold a home with the Good Neighbor agent. She's a long-term listener of mine and knew from all of the stories she'd heard that she could trust the John Schuster Group Coldwell Banker Realty. Betty was left a property in an estate. She wanted to sell it and needed an expert by her side who could handle everything. She needed the stress off her plate. That was no issue for John. His marketing system reaches thousands of potential home buyers. It only took 3 days to get 3 offers for Betty's home. Her home sold for $15,000 over the asking price. From the first step to the final signature, John turns a stressful process into success stories. Go to johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Herschel Walker for 3 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks, and an assortment of other picks and players.
Some trades don't work out.
Some do. Borofka's furniture trading event has proven so popular that we've decided to offer it full-time.
We'll give you $100 credit towards the Craftsman direct price of your $2,000 purchase of beautiful Borofka's furniture.
Don't kick that old end table to the curb.
Trade it in for a $100 credit on your purchase.
Bedroom, dining room, anything your heart desires. Up to 2 $100 trade-in credits towards new furniture from Borofka's.
It's a great way to upgrade your decor and save money at the same time.
Speaking of trades, I'd like to trade my jelly and spinach sandwich for your egg salad sandwich.
Oh, Joe. Borofka's. No gimmicks, haggling, or hard-to-understand pricing. In Minnetonka, Woodbury, and Burnsville.
Decidedly different.
For 25 years, the Library of Congress Veterans History Project has collected and preserved the experiences of America's heroes. From original letters to oral histories, these first-hand accounts bring history to life, one voice at a time. With over 120,000 stories collected, each reveals the courage, sacrifice, and service of our veterans, but many remain untold. Help our nation reach 125,000. Share a story. Ensure a legacy. Visit loc.gov/vets today.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I went to Staples for a custom printed graduation banner and invites and saw that Party City is now at Staples.
Wait, what?
Party City is now at Staples.
So now Staples has balloons?
Yep.
Decorations?
Yes.
Streamers, cups, table covers?
Yep, Staples has everything for a party. And now buy 2 get 1 free on select foil balloons.
Holy confetti! So the best parties start at Staples.
That was easy.
In 613 select stores, exclusions apply. In-store or buy online. Pick up in-store only.
I'm the thread that's already inside the house. In the closet, under the bed, in the car. But I don't want your money or your TV. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. I'm patient and quiet. I don't sleep. You can't call the cops on me. You can't even see me. I'm the threat of family fire. And as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Secure all your guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for West 94 as move in from Riverside to Lowry Hill Tunnel. You're going to be traveling up on the north side of the metro. Get ready for your slowdowns. East 36, Cleveland Avenue, over to Lexington, 694 eastbound, jammed up Silver Lake Road, over to Highway 10. USPS Ground Advantage reliable route. That's going to be Cedar Avenue northbound, free-flowing from 35E to 494. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Are you ready for worry-free Connecticut water like I have? Enjoy an additional $500 off on top of summer sale pricing when you trade up to a Connecticut water system. Visit AquariusHomeservices.com and schedule your free water test today.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by Aquarius Home Services. Here's Chris Schaefer.
A quiet night tonight with a partly cloudy sky. Yeah, it still stays humid. 67 the overnight low. Partly cloudy tomorrow. It's going to be hot and humid. This should be our warmest day with a high near 91. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible overnight. Wednesday, another hot and humid one with a high near 90. It does get windy, and we're keeping an eye on the threat of some severe storms in the afternoon.
Air quality alert in effect. It is 82 in Minneapolis on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today, or always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
Watch me.
Unbelievable turnout last night. More people watched the unveiling of the Timberwolves' brand new uniform than were attending some Timberwolves games in the mid-2000s. I'll tell you that much. Amazing moment, and really the first time the new ownership of the Timberwolves have been able to put their stamp visually on like what this team was going to look like and feel like. 3 new uniforms unveiled, including a return to the trees, which so many people have wanted to see, that black uniform with the trees. Mike Grahl is the chief marketing officer for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Lynx. He's with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Mike, did you imagine when you joined the team a couple of years ago that 7,000 people would be showing up to watch a uniform unveiling?
Well, Jason, it was a great weekend indeed. I probably would say no, but I will tell you within the first, few weeks of being in Minnesota, I knew there was something different about Minnesotans, but Minnesota sports fans for sure. And I would say Timberwolves fans beyond that, just in terms of how passionate that this fan base is. I think maybe, I don't know. It doesn't surprise me maybe as much as one would think, just because I've had the joy of being able to work alongside of Timberwolves fans, and I can feel their passion and enthusiasm, especially as it relates to uniforms and what's on-court apparel. They love it to the nth degree, which is fantastic. We love their passion.
We'll talk about how you sort of thread the needle of going retro, but still being in the present day and in the future. But this all really started with your ownership, Alex Rodriguez and Mark Laurie, listening to fans saying, look, we miss the trees. We miss the KG era look.
Yeah, Mark and Alex, when they first stepped foot inside of Minnesota and the Twin Cities, they were very, very focused on fan feedback and understanding what fans want. And so that listening started from day one, anecdotal, more formal, all kinds of it. And one of the things that resonated very strongly and quickly with them was how passionate fans were about our on-court apparel and our uniforms. More specifically at the time, in the Black Tree uniform is one that whenever we drop a uniform, and usually that's in the form of our City Edition, which is an annual uniform that's meant to celebrate court culture and community of pride of place. No matter how good that uniform is, no matter how much fans like the design elements or anything of that nature or the story that we're telling with it, there's always a piece of the past, and that usually was the black uniform that has the tree trim, as well as what we call Generation 1, our old Shep very first uniforms, the white and the blue. Those are the ones that consistently had some commentary within any drop we did. And Mark and Alex caught that, across social listening, but as well as their conversations. That was something that they heard loud and clear. And so that's really where the conversation started. It started with how do we give fans what they want? How do we keep things simple from the uniforming perspective, and ultimately do something that brings even more fan energy to that space and around this organization as they look to transform this organization off the court as well.
Well, I know this passion because my almost 21-year-old son spent about a year trying to find one of the Jaden McDaniels Timberwolves black uniforms with trees last year. And they were so hard to come by. So you guys not only had gut feeling and fan direct feedback, but you had some data out there, too, to show, look what fans are buying, look what they're not buying, look what's resonating, right? The NBA isn't just a gut feeling. That's not the A-Rod, Mark Laurie process here. You guys really dug into data and figured out, all right, let's give the fans what they want.
Yes, for sure. And yes, data is definitely a part of it. We can trust our gut only so far, but we definitely want to make sound business decisions on that front. And we want to make sure that we grow a fan base in the most authentic way possible. So that's making sure that we do have proper data sources and information that, yes, we can cater properly to the fan and feed their desire in the best way possible, for sure.
All right, we're talking with Mike Grahl, the Chief Marketing Officer for the Timberwolves. Obviously, the trees are back. There is a black jersey, but there are differences, some of the font choices. It is amazing to me the detail that you guys get into. And some of this is regulations and restrictions from the NBA, right? You can't just do whatever you want.
Yeah, that is very true, Jason. And it does, again, keeping it simple and giving fans what they want was kind of the lens that we were viewing this through, right? Like we didn't feel the need to recreate something wild and dramatically different because there was something that already was inherently loved by our fans. And so as we went through this process, we did want to focus on those areas. And we kind of drew the Venn diagram of what Generation 1, the love that fans have for Generation 1, and then what we call Generation 2, which was the Black Tree era. And those are two very, very distinct eras, both of identity as well as uniforms. We wanted to make it not about the past because we've got a great present and a great future that we are marching towards as Mark Lowry and Alex Rodriguez enter this new era of ownership. So we wanted to be representative of that in the best way possible. So the design details, everything comes through design details, and there is rules and regulations across the NBA that we do have to abide by in this space. The most notably is that you cannot bring back a core uniform once you deprecate it as is. It needs to be commercially distinct from what was worn before. Us as a brand, we also don't necessarily want to do exactly as we've done in the past because, again, we've got an incredible future in front of us and a great present right now.
I noticed the icon, the association, the statement, they all say Wolves instead of Timberwolves. What was the thought there?
Yeah, a lot goes into the thinking of those things, and there's a lot of input that we used across a lot of stakeholders. And I think there's important factors of the uniform, and I think the legibility of the uniform was something that resonated really, really strongly as we had a lot of conversations on broadcast as well as seating from the stands. And the Wolves have been our chess mark historically on uniform too. So again, we don't want to make vast departures from what was in the past. We want to make sure that it's clear and legible. Obviously, our core fans know us very well, but we're also working every day to grow our audience. And the best part about being a Wolves fan is to have more Wolves fans around you. So as we do that, we want to be conscientious of the fans who aren't necessarily on board quite yet, right? So we want to make sure that that legibility is there, again, both on on-screen broadcast perspective, as devices even get smaller and smaller as people are consuming streaming product. As well as in venue. So those are some of the considerations. And we are able to have a little more fun with the serif font. It's not to the degree of the serif as the KG Black Era Trees jersey was, but it's got some attitude to it that gives us a little bit more real estate when it's shorter in character length as well.
I mean, the reaction has been great. I love them. I think they're fantastic. Even like the bright, you could tell in person, but like the brightness of this blue is really going to explode with sort of the theater style lighting that you have at Target Center now, the bright greens. It's fresh. It's a very fresh look, I think.
Yeah, the brightness, Jason, is definitely something that we consider when we're exploring the color palette. And again, keeping things simple, we didn't feel like we had to venture very far away what was our original in Shep Blue and Shep Green, and the vibrancy of those two. What's different is the black. And obviously the desire to mix the eras of Gen 2 with Gen 1, kind of the hero of that generation was the black statement uniform. It was an alternate. It wasn't a statement at that time when it was first introduced. But it's really fun to see that black base as you introduce it to our identity, because you can't have a uniform that is not with a base color that is not represented in your identity. To bring that in has really made the green and the blue pop in a really vibrant way. And they can stand kind of alone too when they need to. So from a creative perspective, as we build all of the creative around all the campaigns that we bring to life, not just the uniforming itself, it does give us a lot of flexibility.
Who does this, Mike? I mean, obviously you're key in ownership and everybody, but like who's doing the nitty gritty of the design work? Is it in-house people?
Yeah, there's a tight group of stakeholders to begin with, and it does go across the NBA as well as Nike, because this really started with the uniform, and then our internal group led by our executive creative director Jen Zanata, who does a fantastic job. Not only the design work itself, but understanding the fundamentals, and again the research that informs the design elements and all the aesthetics. And boy, Jason, if I could show you all the details that we had on the cutting room floor across this entire process that was 3+ years, it'd be a very long interview for sure, right? And might blow your mind a little bit because it's so much in the details, but the details are where it really wins.
It is, and that is the crazy part about this. Our listeners are hearing this and they're like, my God, it's just a uniform. what are we doing here? But having the backstory, why is that important? Why are all those details so important?
Because there is a little bit of a subliminal essence to this too, where like you don't necessarily, the people who really love design and want to nerd out on it, they'll get it. But there are things inside of the design that you don't necessarily even think about that are just pleasing to the eye. And that's where the group really wanted to go deep, so that we did have every single touch point within the architecture of the uniform to be thoughtful. For example, the striping, right? Our classic striping of the Generation 1 era of Old Shep, a classic 3-stripe. Well, we need to have this uniform commercially distinct because it can't be an exact replication of what we've worn and no longer wear again, because that's now a Mitchell & Ness hardwood classic. So we want to be thoughtful in terms of what that striping, not only is a differentiator, but how can it still make sense within what has been our history, but also a modern take forward. And when you bring a thick, thin striping into it, it also does represent what our Gen 4 was, what our current uniform was in the thick, thin striping. So it does nod a little bit to that. But there's a little bit of a modern take that doesn't represent the classic of what was. It subtly changes it in a way that it feels different. And it's those types of details, and we can go into the chest mark and the word and the number system as well. Similarly, again, the serif that we talk about, and even the stroke or the shaping around the number system and the letters, especially with the black statement edition uniform that has the green with the blue as the final outer stroke that almost gives it a glowing effect. It's those types of things that catch your eye, but you don't necessarily know why it's catching your eye.
And also, I think, not to be like crazy about it, but I think at a time where there's so much AI design slop out there, seeing something with so much thought behind it and so many human hands that touched it, there is something satisfying about that. We're watching human beings play at an incredible level a basketball game, and I want to see human design work and human creativity in the gear that I'm going to buy to support my team. I think that's important too.
100%. And there's not a single design mind in this organization that would disagree with you in any way, shape, or form as well, Jason.
We notice, and we appreciate it. It's really cool. That's why I wanted to have this conversation and have you on. I think it's a cool moment for people who get it. They love it. For people who don't, I think you're still going to like the look. Ultimately, you got to win, right? Like, that's what we really want.
Yep.
But the gear is a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and we want to make sure our athletes feel good in it, right? That's Nike's part of this, and the NBA's too, quite frankly. But we want the athletes to feel good, not only from the physical structure of the material and the uniform itself, but obviously, as we all know, if you played sports or even if you're getting up to go for your work day, look good, play good, look good, work good. So we take that mindset, and it was great. We go through this process for 3+ years, and when you can get Jade McDaniels and Naz Reid to tell you that it's great and the uniform, they love it and they're excited to play in it. And when you can even turn the page backwards and look at a Kevin Garnett who made this style kind of iconic, and when he certifies it or stamps it with his approval too, those are really good things that hopefully translate into fan energy as well.
Pretty fun. Mike Grahl, really appreciate it. Your team did an amazing job, and soon enough, people will be able to buy this gear, and it'll be Timberwolves season all over again. We appreciate it.
Yes,
Mike.
indeed. Yeah, you bet. Merch collection's available, but the jersey will drop in September, so you can register at timberwolves.com or download the app and register to be notified. But we're looking forward to people rocking it.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here for my friend Chris Lindahl, Arms Out Real Estate Company, and your guy when it comes to Big Red Check. There is no doubt that the real estate market is scary right now. It's a good time to be a buyer, challenging time to be a seller, because your house has to be perfect. You have to be in the right neighborhood. You have to have all the upgrades. You have to be ready to rock. And most of us aren't. We just aren't. Chris Lindahl takes all the stress, all the pressure, all of the drama out of it, and just gets you a big red check. Guaranteed cash offer has been changing lives for years. It's one of the most innovative things in the real estate business. Chris will buy your house, and you don't have to do a dang thing. All the stress, all the pressure goes to him. He'll fix it up. He'll take care of all of that. You just say, Chris, give me my big red check, and off you go. That is freedom. That is a major reduction in sleepless nights. You just get to move forward with your life. More and more people are saying yes. See if it makes sense for you. Visit my friend Chris Lindahl, KRIS, Lindahl.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
At Wealth Enhancement, we believe wealth is in the details. Our team of trusted advisors craft personalized solutions to help you achieve your financial goals. Tune in to the Your Money Show on News Talk 830 WCCO every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m. or go to wealthenhancement.com to connect with one of our advisors.
I'm the threat that's already inside the house. In the closet, under the bed, in the car. But I don't want your money or your TV. I can't be scared away or negotiated with. I'm patient and quiet. I don't sleep. You can't call the cops on me. You can't even see me. I'm the threat of family fire. And as long as your guns aren't stored securely, I'll be there. Protect your family. Secure all your guns. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
In the U.S., 1 in 5 children with cancer will not survive. You can help give them more tomorrows. Support St. Jude today.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market. A couple of crashes up on the north side. 35W northbound County Road 96. 3-car wreck off to the right side. And then up ahead, near County Road 8, had an accident working there off to the right side as well. Traffic is pretty much slow as you come up from 694 toward Highway 10. West 94 slows, Hemlock Lane to Weaver Lake Road. Shop on the go staples at Whole Foods Market. Get 30% off select snacks with Prime through June 9th. Save on favorites from Annie's, Cascadian Farm, Epic, and Larabar. All supplies last. Shop in store online. Terms apply. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
For the best windows in the business that are made to order just for you. An array of styles, features that will fit your project and budget. Only one way to go. My friends with Pella Windows and Doors, PellaNorthland.com. Tell me, heard this from Chad.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Pella Northland, Pella Windows, good people. Weather tonight, partly cloudy, low of 67, 91 tomorrow, 90 Wednesday. Chance of storms on Wednesday. Right now, 81 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
Nothing. It just turns into nothing so quickly.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, we went a little long with uniforms because I like them. So, and it's my show. That's how this works. I thought it was very interesting. In a couple minutes, we got ABC News. We got Mark Fry. Then, no death penalty for Vance Boelter. If this guy isn't eligible for the death penalty, what are we doing? We'll talk about that. Plus, Donald Trump at the Knicks game. if you're a Knicks fan, aren't you just, even if you're a Trump fan and a Knicks fan? Well, we'll talk about that too. Lots of fun coming up at our 5 o'clock hour. Continental Diamond time check is 4:57. Graduation season is here. Father's Day is soon. It is time to check out the amazing selection of luxury timepieces at my friends, ContinentalDiamond.com.
Chat back here with you on CCO. I want to talk insurance and the group I have trusted for 30 years. Not just me, my father, my boys. We have been with Amber Scholl and Associates the entire time. They are with American Family, and trust is the right word. When something awful happens with your business or your home or your car, you need people who are available. You need individuals who have a team, and they've handled every situation. Amber and her team have done that. Let's be honest. Insurance rates are complicated. You need someone who knows this business in all ways, and I wouldn't be with Amber for 30 years unless I totally believed in her. Call today, 651-738-4811, and tell me you heard this spot from Chad on CCO.
Are you an adult with uncontrolled moderate to severe Crohn's disease symptoms and still packing a backup bag of clothes? Just in case, Skyrizi Risankizumab Risa can help you take control of your Crohn's. Feel significant symptom relief, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements at 4 weeks. Plus, Skyrizi is proven to help people achieve remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. Individual results may vary. Skyrizi is a prescription injection medicine. Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's. Ready to take control of your Crohn's? Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 prescribed biologic in Crohn's disease.
Control is everything to me.
Learn more at skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI.
15 years in prison for a crash that killed 3. 12 and a half years for killing a child, all caused by marijuana-impaired drivers. If you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
News Talk 830 WCCO, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From ABC News, I'm Chuck Severson. There's NBA Finals excitement and an Ohio mass shooting update. But first, Kroger, the supermarket chain, is agreeing to pay $1.25 million in a settlement over calories.
Remember that Seinfeld episode when the non-fat frozen yogurt turned out not to be non-fat?
It's non-fat. How could this not have any fat? It's too good.
In Santa Barbara County, the district attorney says some Kroger-branded Carb Master breads were not as low-calorie as advertised. Kroger accused of putting inaccurate calorie counts on some of its Carb Master white wheat and multi-seed bread and hot dog and hamburger buns. The DA alleging Kroger was violating California's false advertising laws. In one case, the DA says Kroger advertised its Carb Master hamburger buns as having 50 calories in them when they actually had 100 calories in them. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Security is beefed up for tonight's NBA Finals game in New York.
Agent Matt McCool with the U.S. Secret Service says because President Trump will be there, Game 3 will be different.
You will see Secret Service, police, and special agents, transportation security officers, federal air marshals, and the NYPD officers throughout the area.
What you won't see is those fans packing the streets outside the Garden. That party's been moved to Bryant Park. Security at all locations throughout the city will be extremely tight. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The Knicks lead the series 2-0 for the San Antonio Spurs. An 18-year-old is in custody for questioning, police say, in the mass shooting over the weekend at the annual Old West End Festival in Toledo, Ohio. 12 people were injured. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine.
We have every confidence in the police department. We have every confidence that they will find and be able to arrest the individuals who participated in this.
A referee for the FIFA World Cup has been denied entry to the U.S. due to vetting concerns, as U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Local reports say he is from Somalia. You're listening to ABC News.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Sunny and 82 degrees at 5:02. Good evening, I'm Mark Price. We near the one-year anniversary of the assassination of former Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark. The DOJ is reporting that the suspect, Vance Boelter, will not face the death penalty.
Boelter is facing 6 federal charges, including stalking, murder, and firearms offenses. And some of them could have resulted in the death penalty. But a Department of Justice spokesperson said today that is no longer on the table. University of St. Thomas professor Mark Ostler.
I mean, I would urge a little bit of caution here, and that's because, if we've learned anything about this Department of Justice, it's that sometimes they, reverse themselves.
The Department of Justice adding the crime of interstate stalking is not likely death penalty eligible, adding that prosecutors will, though, make sure that Boelter is held accountable to the fullest extent possible. Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
MSP airport catering workers today protesting over what they call unsafe working conditions.
Airport catering workers gathered at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport to demand an immediate end to a single-operator catering policy they argue creates hazardous working conditions since its introduction by employer LSG Sky Chefs in 2025. Hoptang Wildegerdas has been a driver for LSG Sky Chefs for over 11 years.
It's a lot of hard work every day, and we have a lot of pressure on us. The airlines need their flights to leave on time, and we can be assigned with very tight departure times, which means we have to rush.
Labor union Unite Here Local 17 is representing the employees, and the push has garnered support from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison. At MSP, I'm Taylor Rivera. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Construction getting underway today at George Floyd Square in South Minneapolis, and of course, drawing reaction from those who live in the area. Lane Brown is with the Central Area Neighborhood Development Organization.
I'm mostly just hoping that we can continue to work closely together on turning this area into something that really respects the residents.
Brown's expressing concerns about the project's overall cost impacting the neighborhood and the local businesses. Minnesota's 2 Division I basketball programs will finally meet in the upcoming regular season, with the University of Minnesota hosting St. Thomas at the Barn. Tommy's men's basketball head coach Johnny Tower.
It's going to be one of those things that probably for both schools they look at, and I hope at the end of that night it's like that was a win-win for everybody, because overall what we're all trying to do, and that's help young people develop and generate interest in the game of basketball. And I think both of those things are going to help or happen that night.
The Gopher women have never faced St. Thomas, while the men's teams have not faced one another in the regular season since the 1930s. It is 5:05 on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Control with a crash 35W northbound near County Road 96. Activity off to the right side. Things are slow from 694 up to Highway 10. 694 eastbound near Highway 36. Crash off to the right side. That's slowing you down as you come away from White Bear Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And the weather is brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader. You can find them at Dickeys.com. Here's Chris Schaefer.
It stays humid tonight. We'll see some breaks in the clouds, call it partly cloudy with an overnight low of 67. Tomorrow is going to be the hottest day so far this year. Partly cloudy, still humid, heading for a high near 91. We could see some scattered showers and thunderstorms overnight into Wednesday morning. Keeping an eye on the storm threat Wednesday afternoon. It will be hot, windy, and humid with those storms likely firing up in the afternoon.
Sunny and 81 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
In the middle of the conversation, in the middle of the story, in the middle of Minnesota. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRusha, fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Once again, here's Jason DeRusha.
How on earth does a federal government that is very in favor of using the death penalty decide that the Vance Boelter case is the one to say, no, I don't think this guy should see the death penalty. Come on. I was shocked. I was shocked to hear the news. It's drive time, hour 3, 5:07. Jason and Dan with you. Are you shocked? Is this the wrong decision, as I think it is? 651-461-9226. Not only did Vance Boelter kill Melissa Hortman and her husband, Vance Boelter also, if found guilty, went to John and Yvette Hoffman and shot both of them, terrorizing those two and their daughter. A third legislator that he tried to visit was out of town. And he went to a fourth legislator's home. Vance Boelter wanted to kill as many elected officials as he could. That is not worth a death penalty? Now, if this were some moral federal moment of saying, we're not certain we should be in the business of putting people to death, that would be a very different conversation. In this case, the Justice Department is saying they just don't have the legal grounds because the federal charge that he's being hit with is a stalking charge. Does stalking qualify as a violent crime? Is sort of the technical reason. At the federal level, not every murder is a death penalty case. And so this technicality, if he had, held up a gas station at gunpoint and then he killed Mark Hortman, okay, well, then you have a felony, violent, and you would have grounds. Prosecutors in the Justice Department said they worked hard on this case to make sure he was held accountable to the fullest extent possible. Am I a bad person for being somewhat suspicious that because the victims in this case were Democrats, that the Justice Department maybe didn't work as hard as they could to figure out some way? Because I feel bad that is my gut reaction to this, but it is. Isn't that your suspicion? And what a shame that this White House has made prosecution so political. And yes, you're going to come back with, well, everybody came after him. Yes. Do I think that there was politically motivated prosecution of Donald Trump? I do. Do I think that Donald Trump is such a petty little small man that he's decided because he's so hurt over his victimization in his mind that now we've decided that this is how we're going to use the federal government? Yeah, I do think that's what's happening. 651-461-9226. Tell me if I'm wrong. Vance Boelter must be put to death, says Paul. The penalty is a must for such a serious crime. Another texter raising the same skepticism as I have. Which party is in power and which party were the victims? Seems pretty clear to me what would have happened if he killed a Republican. Doesn't it suck that we have to even think that? And maybe it's not the case, and maybe indeed the technical realities of sort of what cases rise to a death penalty level, maybe those are the realities. But to me, here's a guy who dressed up like a law enforcement officer, took advantage of the trust that we have with law enforcement, and showed up at the homes of 4 citizen legislators. And to think that that doesn't cut it, that doesn't rise to the level of death penalty, to me, is just disappointing. It's disappointing. 651-461-9226. Now, I don't even know in this case if the victims want the death penalty. I think that's perhaps another consideration. I don't know that the victims always get a vote, but I think they should be consulted, and I would not be astonished in this case if the victims didn't want the death penalty. I have a love-hate relationship with the death penalty myself. I don't find it very credible that the death penalty is a deterrent for anybody. Most people who commit a violent crime like this think that they're never going to get caught, let alone are weighing what their potential consequences would be. Let's go to Linda. Linda, thanks for calling. 651-461-9226. What are your thoughts? I was surprised. I was surprised to hear this news, to be honest.
Well, I think I have a different opinion on it. I mean, maybe they're trying to make a point that in the state of Minnesota, you can't pick and choose who gets the death penalty for murder, because we have many, and I'm just going to say people, that are in jail for murdering small children, and they didn't get the death penalty.
We don't.
here,
Yeah,
so,
we don't have a death penalty at the state level in Minnesota.
So I want to assume positive intent. You know what I mean? That it's like. So that's kind of where I'm at. Maybe there is a little respect for where the state of Minnesota is, and I don't know. I think we all, if we all tried to assume positive intent, maybe things would be a little bit better for everybody.
I think you're right. I think you're right about that. Thank you, Linda. I wish I shared like that. I'm a pretty positive, optimistic guy, but even for me, I think maybe that's. I haven't seen much federal interest in deference to the way that Minnesota does things. I do think, look, when you have state laws that say no death penalty, and then you have the federal government that has certain death penalty cases, like you look at Luigi Mangione. In New York, I do not believe there's a death penalty at the state level. And the feds came in and charged that one. And do you remember, Dan? Have they made a final decision on whether I think it's still open. I don't think they gave a final decision as to whether Mangione would be eligible for the death penalty or not. Oh, a federal judge dismissed the murder and the firearms charge in January. So that's right. That was the news story that it wasn't that long ago. I remember the story popping up. But a judge dismissed that charge, so no death penalty for Mangione. But they were going to seek death penalty. It's these underlying charges. It's sort of a way that they get, you look at like an Oklahoma City bombing, for example, a Tim McVeigh scenario, and you say like, that feels like that should be if you're going to have a death penalty, that feels like the kind of case where it might be warranted. I can understand. Like I said, if it were a moral conversation, that's a different deal. If you want to say, I don't think the federal government should be in the business of putting people to death, I actually find that very compelling, because I'm not a big believer that we should be in the business of taking other people's lives.
The government certainly has no moral obligation to take its own citizens' lives or beyond obligation. I don't know that it has a moral right to do so.
But that's not what this is.
No,
this
it's
is
not. And yet, you and I have talked
technicality.
about this plenty of times. I'm utterly, completely, and in every way possible opposed to the death penalty. I think it's morally bankrupt, and I don't want to see it implied in any situation whatsoever. That being said, this does seem odd, and I was just as shocked as you were this morning when I woke up and saw this news, because the federal government under the current administration has no proclivities about using the death penalty. They're totally fine with it. They've used it many, many times and will continue to, as long as the current administration is in place. So for this not to be the case, I was absolutely convinced that they were going to go for the death penalty in this case. And I'm still not sure I totally understand why they don't, whether it's the political calculus that you talked about or whether it's something else. Either way, I don't want to say I don't care, but I almost don't care, right? Because I don't want to see the death penalty applied at all. I'm very proud to live in a state that does not have the death penalty. And the last thing I want to see is the feds coming in and imposing the death penalty in this state.
Yeah.
So whatever their reasons are, the fact that they decided not to kill somebody, regardless of what he did or whether people feel like he deserves it, I think is a good thing morally for this state.
You can continue to weigh in if you wish. In a minute, I want to talk about President Trump going to the Knicks game. I have said before, if I were the president, I would want to do all the fun stuff too. But I think this is pretty crappy. We'll talk about it when we come back on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha, tuned up and rolling. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington.
J.H. and Sons at the Galleria in Edina. It's Jason here for my team, doing their best to make me look good. That's what they're doing. It's a challenge. Let's be real. Let's be real. But my friends Bryce and Chuck and Dean, they are up to the challenge. Alicia, the whole crew over there will take care of you when you go to J.H. and Sons at the Galleria in Edina. What Jeff Halberstadt has done with this store is awesome. Incredible. Men's clothing, suits, you're going to look awesome. Casual wear, they got that as well. I just was in the store on Saturday. They told me, they're like, hey, Jason, this week there were like 3 or 4 people who came in who said they heard about it on CCO, which is awesome. I love that because I know that so many of you are making the choice to look your best and feel your best. That's what happens when you have clothing that fits well, that feels great. You walk with a little more swagger, a little more confidence. You deserve it. We're dressing better this summer. I was picking up clothes for a vacation. Alyssa and I are taking to Mexico City next month. So look for that content coming up soon. J.H. and Sons is at the Galleria in Edina. So easy to get to. You can sign up for their email list, too, to be the first to know what's going on at jhandsons.com.
We're talking construction law today with Blake Nelson, an attorney from Helmuth & Johnson. Blake, why is having the right legal support so important?
One delay, one payment issue, or one contract mistake can put an entire project at risk and be the difference between making and losing money. In Minnesota, contract terms, timing, and documentation matter.
How does Helmuth & Johnson help?
We help contractors, subcontractors, and property owners protect their rights, get paid, and keep projects moving.
Learn more at hjlawfirm.com. Helmuth & Johnson, on your side, at your side, for all your construction law needs.
You know that feeling when your body is tired, but your brain just won't shut off? We've all been there. Jordana here. That's where CBN comes in. CBN, short for cannabinol, is a naturally occurring hemp cannabinoid known for its relaxing, sleepy effects. Think of it like the lights dimming signal for your brain. While CBD helps you stay calm, CBN helps your body know it's time to rest. That's why we call it CB Night Night. Mini Leaf Night and Night Plus Sleep Gummies combine CBN, CBD, and CBG to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, and then wake up feeling refreshed. Free shipping this month at minileaf.com, the home of Minnesota's best legal products. Go to minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com, and tell them Jordana sent you.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Pump up the volume. Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/ground advantage to learn more.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Donald Trump absolutely should not be going to the Knicks game tonight. Unbelievably selfish, self-absorbed, disruptive, and expected. Look, I have been very supportive of the president going to, like the Army-Navy football game and going to the Kentucky Derby. And there are certain events where you're like, all right, like the Super Bowl. It's disruptive, but not really disruptive. Tonight, the president going to Madison Square Garden in New York City has led to the canceling of an outdoor watch party. How furious would you be if you're in New York City, where, of course, you can't afford to go to the Knicks game tonight, right? Didn't we see, tickets to get in the Garden were even a bad seat was more than $1,000 a ticket? So they're going to do this outdoor watch party. And you think, how sick would it be to be outside the Garden, tens of thousands of Knicks fans, your team, which has won 2 in a row? It's going to be amazing. And then Donald Trump is like, well, I'm coming to the game. And I get it. Donald Trump is a New Yorker. Well, now he's a Mar-a-Lago guy, but he's a New Yorker. Could you now, I just ask you to imagine this, because we know it would never happen. It's possible that Donald Trump didn't realize how disruptive this would be for 40,000 fans, for 100,000 people who are going to come to the thing. But by now he should know. The Secret Service led the Knicks to cancel the outdoor party. Fans are being asked to come 2 hours early. What if he today said, you know what? This is too much. New York, have fun. Fans, I want you to have a good time. Go Knicks. Then all around the country, we're talking about, you know what? How awesome. What a great thing of thinking about America. Now, I think if you were a Wolves fan and this happened to you, you would be pissed. 651-461-9226. I'm getting texts from all the Trump lovers who just, whatever Trump does, they just open wide and tongue kiss him. It's unbelievable. You guys defending this is crazy. Trump is a Knicks fan. These watch parties are a new phenomenon. Who cares? If it were Obama going while he was president, you would be all for it. What would happen if we took away the if blah, 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 you would be for it line of thinking out there? You guys would never know what to say. If Obama did this, I would also be against. Going to an NBA Finals game is very different from going to one of these massive events. These massive events are already national security events. Going to the Super Bowl, Trump should go to the Super Bowl. I actually love that Trump goes to some of these sporting events. It's sort of normal. It's kind of a normal thing to do. And like I said, if I were president, I would want to do the fun stuff. Being the president is hard. Enjoy some of the moments. Enjoy some of the unifying fun things about that gig. But going to a Knicks playoffs game and also it's Madison Square Garden in the heart of New York City. We're not talking about going to I don't know, Oklahoma City. Well, it's not that difficult. You could work it out. So, Jason, you're saying it's fine if the president goes to the Super Bowl of the NFL, but not to the NBA Super Bowl. Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying. They are very different events. The NFL Super Bowl is not a home team event. The NBA championships game is a home team event. It's a Knicks home game. And you're messing with that mojo. You're messing with that mojo.
Caller asks about the cost, which is something that always gets brought up anytime a president, shows up but the security costs of obviously setting up the suite, all the security around the place. Like you said, it's New York City. That's not minor. How much is that costing taxpayers? Which at the end of the day is pennies out of our pockets at the most.
I never get too worked up about that.
But plenty of people do.
Yeah. Like to me, if there's cost to fuel up the plane. And I don't know. I always find that dollar figure a little misleading. Like part of the presidency is going to stuff and going around. And I think it's generally fine. I think in this case, though, like the condemnation of this is crossing party lines. Like Stephen A. Smith lost his mind over it.
I'm sure he did, because this is going to end a convenient Stephen A. Smith. I mean, talk about people that have to make everything about themselves. Give me a break.
Ann Coulter. Of all the selfish, narcissistic things Trump has done, attending MSG to see the Knicks play in person Monday night is the absolute worst. Because, like, how many fans can go to Madison Square Garden?
There is something precious about this portion of the MAGAverse.
It's 20,000 fans. That's all that's in there. So that's how disruptive it's going to be.
Who have suddenly discovered that the president thinks about himself before other people, and are now screaming bloody murder about it because he bombed a country and he said he wouldn't, and they're just mad at him. I mean, I honestly, there's plenty of reasons to criticize the president. For me, this isn't one of them. It's a playoff. It's
you
an
think
NBA
it's
finals.
fine?
I don't really have a problem with it.
You really think it's all right?
No.
Oh,
I mean, the watch party, look, it's New York City. There's 18 billion places you could set up a watch party in New York.
You don't think it's selfish?
No, I think it is, but I don't, of all the things, again, we're going to complain about.
Well, yeah, but all that other stuff is boring. We know he's a jackass. We know he's yelling at the media. We know he's lying and making up stuff. Like, that's not fun to talk about anymore. I just can't get worked up over this one. I just can't. Do you want me to do you want me to talk about all that other stuff more?
I don't, it's your show. And we talk about that stuff plenty, but, and this, I don't think this, I'm not saying this isn't worth talking about. It's for sure
minor.
I'm saying I'm not getting vexed over this.
Yeah.
If the president goes to stuff, it happens.
No one goes to one of these things. It's totally unnecessary. It's very selfish. Let's see what Dave Schwartz thinks. Texters say he didn't go to his son's wedding, but he can go to this.
I mean,
total Richard move.
Fair.
Another texter. I know people who went to wild watch parties, and it's a lifetime memory. Yeah. You say he should do the fun stuff, but it seems like that's all he does is have fun. Isn't he tired of winning and having fun yet? The Super Bowl, you get months to plan. The Knicks, he decided last week. Hey, I'm going to go to game 3. Total Richard move is right. Dave Schwartz in a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Worries over AI wiping out white-collar jobs may be overblown in the eyes of a Federal Reserve member. New York Fed President John Williams told a central bank conference that long-term structural unemployment can't be seen from AI, and that the effects of AI productivity growth on the economy and monetary policy could take years to play out, and that the implications of AI shifts in productivity are profound. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Giving your liver a spring cleaning is easy with Active Liver from New Nordic, the delicious daily detox that will keep you feeling your best. Search for Active Liver by New Nordic on Amazon or pick up some at your local CVS, Wegmans, or GNC.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow from Minneapolis, westbound 94, Riverside into downtown and through the Lower Hill Tunnel. West 694 still slow, Matterhorn to Highway 252. Also some slowing 94 westbound, Hemlock Lane to Weaver Lake Road. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
B&M Tree Services, certified arborists offering tree trimming, storm cleanup, and full tree removal with professional service at prices you can afford. Call 1-800-569-9034 or visit bnmtree.com. Trusted, professional, reliable.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Sun is ablazing in downtown Minneapolis right now. Here is Chris Schaefer.
A quiet night tonight with a partly cloudy sky. Yeah, it still stays humid. 67 the overnight low. Partly cloudy tomorrow. It's going to be hot and humid. This should be our warmest day with a high near 91. Some scattered showers and thunderstorms are possible overnight. Wednesday, another hot and humid one with a high near 90. It does get windy, and we're keeping an eye on the threat of some severe storms in the afternoon.
It is sunny and 82 air quality alert in effect. You can see that haziness here on CC.
Hey, Dave, you got us okay? Drive Time with Russia.
Yep, loud and clear.
Gotcha. It is one of my 2 or 3 favorite things to do, whether it's in the office, it's in town.
It doesn't matter. There's nothing better.
On News Talk 830 WCCO. Now let's get a Monday rundown on the weekend in sports, where Dave brings the analysis and Jason brings the snacks.
Get your popcorn ready.
Time for some fun talking ball and other stuff with Dave Schwartz on Drive Time with Russia.
Dave Schwartz with us on Video Link Up if you're watching our live stream on YouTube, or you can watch the replay on the WCCO Radio YouTube or Facebook channel. Hi, Dave.
2 former TV guys on radio. What's the first thing we do? We fix our hair.
You got to make sure. I mean, your hair looks great.
Thank you.
Is that a recent haircut or is
it was? Yes, I got it cut. I was long overdue. It was probably the longest it had been, I think, in years. And I got it cut.
Do you go to like a certain person, or like do you go to like a Great Clips kind of deal? You got a guy or a gal?
I go to Jaime's Haberdashery.
Oh yeah.
And the gentleman, I think Mike's his name. I hope I'm getting it right. Mike is his name. He cuts my hair. I should know more. This really makes me look bad. He's a wonderful human being whose name is escaping me at this moment. But he cuts my hair every time. And it's great because it's right downtown St. Paul. You walk over and they take care of it. It's old school. They do the shaving cream and the neck razor.
So,
I just love that.
I would like. I've never had like an actual shave. You know what I mean? Like the whole Mike is his name. Mike Sierra.
Yes, Mike Sierra does a great job, and his brother is there too. They both cut
Mario. His brother Mario. See, I
They're
looked
great.
this up just to make sure that you weren't embarrassing yourself on the radio, because this man uses sharp implements, you know?
Yeah, well, if you could help me not embarrass myself in real life, that'd be great. But at least help me not do it here on radio.
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be great. Yeah, he does a great job.
Excellent. Do you, Dan and I talk about this sometimes, like what Dan goes to a highly specialized barber for his particular, to get that aesthetic just the way Dan likes it. Yeah.
He looks like he's on a.
This doesn't just happen.
We're a little pixelated today. I don't know what's happening with Dan.
Are you
He's
on a
out.
Nokia flip phone today,
That's
or what, Dan? I don't see
No, I'm
what's-
on Odyssey's internet.
We do have, I believe our internet comes out of Philadelphia or New York or Denver, or I have no idea what happens. But whenever I log onto a website, it's always like, sometimes you're in San Diego. I'm like, unclear as to what's going on, but that's fine.
He's being rerouted through Mars. Is his stream is.
It's rough. It's rough. So I want to ask you about the Timberwolves new uniforms, because you are a noted uniform fan, and we had a great conversation last hour with Mike Grahl, the chief marketing officer at the Timberwolves. And to me, like, I love the details. I love the backstory of why they brought in this or brought in that. But I think the biggest thing that fans are going to talk about, fans are going to love the trees, the old school black jersey with the trees. But the thing I find most interesting is none of these 3 uniforms they released yesterday say Timber. They all say Wolves. None of them say Timberwolves, which I'm fine with. But we've gotten some texts from Timberwolves fans who are like, it's kind of weird that none of the uniforms have the full name on it.
Well, but it's hip. It's cool. Like, you shorten things. Nobody says, this is Timberwolves. They say the Wolves, and their marketing slogan, what was a couple years ago? Wolves back.
Wolves
they
back,
have,
yeah.
They introduced that into the lingo, and I love the new uniforms. I think they were great. I think they did a great job with them. I love the nod to the past, and from a marketing standpoint for a team, new jerseys are fantastic because people will go out and buy more because you don't have that one yet, and so it's always smart. I love the throwback. I'm a big fan. Love the trees and the M. I do. I like it. I like Wolves. I think it's cool. They did a nice job.
The NBA has 4. I think you get 4 uniforms, right? Which is a lot. It's a lot of uniforms.
It is.
But is that what every league has? How many? Dan, do you know how many Twins uniforms are there? 3, I think.
Oh, I think there's more than that with
Because
the city
you have-
connects, the road and home, and
And
how about the Wild? How many different?
Yeah, I want to say that we had 4 this year because we had home away, the 78s, and the anniversary jersey. So we had 4.
Yeah.
But that's not an every year thing. That's just this year.
Is it strictly about selling merch?
Strictly about that? No, it's very much about creating a brand and a persona and getting more fans in. I think that's my thought to it. But is it about selling jerseys? Of course it is. We all, you want to sell jerseys too, but it's about giving people options, right? Like, if you don't like the green or you don't like the white, then maybe you'll like the throwback white, or maybe you'll like the 78s. And so it just gives people more options it's new ways to get connected with new fans. I think that's what it's about. And it's about selling jerseys. I mean, you can sell more jerseys that way. There's no doubt about it.
Dave Schwartz is with us, former sports anchor, works with the Minnesota Wild. Let me ask you about President Trump and going to the Knicks game. So I'm not going to make you get political about it or even express an opinion if you don't want to. But I sort of wonder, from the logistical standpoint, when you think about Grand Casino Arena or a Wild game, if you had a president, 5 days out, say, I want to go to the Wild Stanley Cup game 3, how crazy does that become?
Oh, it becomes a whole different level of crazy, if that's the word we want to use, because, in the case of what's going on in New York, and I feel badly, who I really feel badly for, and I heard your conversation as I was driving home, who I really feel badly for is the game operations people, and who had to go through everything they had to go through to create an outdoor party, because there's permits and things you have to pay money for, and things that have to go through the channels to get them approved to have that party. You do all that, and then you don't get to have the party. But if the president were coming, yes, logistically, there's a whole lot more to it from a organizational standpoint, although my guess would be Secret Service would take over most of it, that they would come in and kind of run point, and then the organization themselves would then do whatever they need to do. The other side of that, though, is the entire world is going to be looking at you and watching your organization. That's a good thing. I mean, from an eyeballs perspective, everyone's watching you. Everyone is going to talk about and watch that game tonight.
Oh, yeah.
They want to see if the president's going to show up,
Yes.
whether they were going to watch the game or not.
Yeah, I've no doubt. Yeah, like, was I going to watch that game tonight? Maybe, but now definitely. So
everyone will be looking forward to see where's the president going to be? Where's he? Where's he sitting? What's he wearing?
Yeah, I like that he goes to some of these big events. I think it's fun. Like, it's cool to have the president go to something. I do like that, but I think like it's pretty selfish to go to an NBA game, giving people 1 week of notice, if that, and all the inconvenience. All the fans have to show up 2 hours ahead. They change the bag policy, just all this stuff, because it's Super Bowl-like security now, which it's usually heavy, but it's going to be much heavier security now.
I mean, but can you really make New Yorkers any angrier than they already are?
Yeah,
I
fair.
mean, I grew up there. I'll say that. It's a true thing. There's
They're already angry.
They're already fired up. They're angry because they're angry because they have traffic. They're angry because they want to win. They're angry, So, but again, I can't stress this enough. The people who put together the plans for these parties and the logistics are the ones that are just going, oh goodness, we spent so much time putting this together and everything that goes into it, and now it's out the door.
It's out the door. Yeah. Dave Schwartz is with us. Dave, I want to ask about the Lynx, because oh my goodness, they have to be the biggest surprise in the WNBA. Maybe Caitlin Clark's decline is the biggest surprise in the WNBA, but the Lynx, without their superstar, have just been on this Olivia Miles tear.
Yeah, Olivia Miles has been outstanding. I mean, I think that through the third of the season, she's probably already a favorite for Rookie of the Year, right? She's been playing incredibly. And to do so the way they've played without Nafisha Collier, and they're playing legit teams, is, I mean, I don't know that there's a bigger surprise in the WNBA this season than the Lynx. They've been great, and she's been outstanding. She's so good.
Is Cheryl Reeve technically underrated? Both been putting this roster together because of all the free agents that she lost, and then being able to coach this particular roster up again with Nafisa missing all year. I mean, I know she's extraordinarily well regarded, but I think still you could argue she's actually underrated.
That's a really good question, because I think most people who have watched her over
Dan?
the course
Good job, buddy. Good
over
job.
the course of her career would never you would never doubt that she can do anything. How many times has she taken rosters, whether it's with the Lynx, whether it's helping out with the Olympics, because she wasn't, the head coach, working with Gino Auriemma in 2018, but she always puts together great rosters and makes it work. And there were times that rosters that she's had have had some real personalities on them, and personalities that always want the ball and always want to be the playmaker. And it's a delicate balance of how you do playing time and possession time and all that with the plays that you run. And she makes it work regardless of who she's ever had. So I guess I would say, to me, she's not underrated, because we always knew that she was great. And if people do think she's underrated, maybe they're not paying close attention, or they're not really understanding just all that she's done in her career.
And remember that Olivia Miles, potential Rookie of the Year, is on this team because Cheryl passed on Angel Reese and cut the deal with Chicago that got them the draft pick that got them Olivia Miles. I mean, she's playing 3D chess in a lot of ways here.
I have long said, and I don't know that it ever happened, but I would very much love to see if there was a first woman to become a head coach in the NBA. I would like to see what Cheryl Reeve could do, because she is smart. She knows the game. She knows both the playing side and the GM side. and she can handle anything. She is tough as nails. I mean, she really is. She's also a very kind person and a nice person, but she's tough. And I think to be an NBA coach as a woman, you have to be tough. You got to be able to deal with everything that goes around with it. And I think if anyone could do it, she could. Now, whether that's ever an aspiration of hers, I talked to her years and years and years ago where she said, nah, not really for her. I don't know if that's changed. It certainly at some point I think you'd like to see it, don't just to see if it can happen.
Absolutely.
And see what she could do.
And USA Today just had a story a couple of days ago where they were interviewing her, and she said she'd absolutely consider taking an NBA coaching job. And she said when she was asked, could she win in the league? She said, absolutely. I believe I understand what it takes to win. Coaching is coaching. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it would be amazing, wouldn't it? It would.
I agree with that. I think the only thing I think that she wouldn't want is for it to be all about her. And I think if that situation happened, it would be very much about Cheryl Reeve. But Cheryl Reeve's coaching this team, she'd rather just be about the basketball and the team because that's who she is. But for all my money, she's a better basketball coach than a lot of coaches that have jobs right now in the NBA.
Let's break. Stay right there, Dave. Vikings quarterback competition. We've been talking, is it a Kyler Murray, J.J. McCarthy competition? Is this really a Carson Wentz, J.J. McCarthy to see who stays on the team? Would you trade J.J.? Dave will give us his answer when we come back.
Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I would not trade Mohiba Tureen, I'll tell you that much. It's Jason here for my friend, Dr. Mohiba Tureen. I absolutely love her. She is an awesome human being and an even better dermatologist. And Tureen Dermatology is her baby. Started as one clinic in Roseville. That's where I go. And it's grown today to be 11 different locations. And why are they expanding so quickly? 2 reasons. One, so many dermatologists want to come work with Dr. Tureen. She's known around the country for compassionate, innovative care. And the second reason is that Tureen Dermatology is looking around and saying, hey, where are there people who are just stuck waiting to see a dermatologist? And they're saying, let's see if we can open in those communities. And that's why today you can find Tureen Dermatology in Maplewood, in Eagan, in Farmington, in Hudson, in Lakeville, one of their new locations. They just opened in Osceola and in Sandstone and in Lindstrom because you deserve the best care and you'll get it at Tureen Dermatology. Do not wait. If you have a concern about your skin, no matter what it is, no matter what your age is, what your skin color is, Tureen, Tareen, TureenDermatology.com.
Class of 2026, you spent 4 years learning calculus and still don't understand your phone bill. You can identify Shakespearean themes, but not whether that social media headline is fake. So as you go forward, you'll need something dependable, familiar, trusted. A radio station that's been through tornadoes, blizzards, championships, elections, and the never-ending construction on 94 heading to the lake.
A diploma won't tell them what's happening, but we will. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today. 1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Ready to get rid of that old car? Donate it to Cars for Kids. Call 877 Cars for Kids to speak to a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Go to carsforkids.org now or call 877 Cars for Kids to donate your car today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids.
Did you know you can donate real estate too? Go to carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K.
Nobody wants to sell their house for almost the most money possible.
You need marketing behind you, and nobody markets homes better than the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. It's Vanita here. Scott and Kathleen from Edina knew that they needed to sell their home for the most money possible to fund their move. They were fed up after our brutal winter and needed the most money possible to afford their dream home somewhere warmer. They interviewed agents, and John's marketing system stood out to them. The Good Neighbor Agents marketing system sells homes for top dollar, reaching thousands of potential home buyers. John's marketing got them 3 massive offers in less than 72 hours. Their home sold for more than $50,000 over the asking price. Are you curious what your home is worth? That's how it starts. Just type in your address on johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
Spreadsheets, clunky software, 100 different logins just to run your business?
There's a better way. Odoo. One simple, connected platform that handles sales, inventory, accounting, and more, so you can focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Lockridge, and I'm the host of a new podcast from Odyssey called Family Lore. In this podcast, I'm going to have people on to tell unusual and sometimes far-fetched stories about their families.
I've heard my whole life that she invented the margarita.
And then we're going to investigate those stories and find out how much of it is true.
He gets a patent 1 month before the Wright brothers. Oh my God.
Please follow and listen to Family Lore, an Odyssey podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Some slowing east 494, 100 over 2 Cedar Avenue. South 169 congested has come down from 494 to Old Shakopee Road, and 35W southbound slow is 98th Street to Highway 13. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Forecast brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, or Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader. Tonight, partly cloudy, low of 67. Tomorrow, hot and humid, 91 is the high. Wednesday, afternoon rain might get severe. We'll keep an eye on it, high of 90. Right now, it's 82 on CCO.
Your daily detour into sharper conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You like it when I wear my hair down.
So there's always Viking season. It's always Vikings drama. And with the quarterback controversy, you know, there was sort of like, oh, how do we feel about J.J. McCarthy saying he sits on one side of the room, Kyler Murray sits on the other. Mm-hmm. The coach came out and is like, yeah, we, want them to have open dialogue. But let's be real. Like, this is going to be a Kyler Murray situation. J.J.'s not going to be starting. I would be stunned if he's starting, unless Kyler just collapses once we get into training camp. They're doing the OTAs right now. What do you think about this, Dave? I mean, is this a scenario where if it becomes obvious it is going to be Kyler, are you better to just trade JJ and give him a shot somewhere else?
Well, it's tough because his contract is big. I mean, he makes $5 million a year. And so it's going to be pretty difficult to trade a guy that lost his starting job that's making $5 million a year because everyone else in the NBA knows, hey, you don't want him or need him. So why would I trade whatever's worth $5 million when you might release him at some point and I can get him as a free agent? In terms of how this is playing out, I think the Vikings wanted to light a fire a little bit more under J.J. McCarthy. And I think what they wanted was Kyler Murray to come in and J.J. to go, You're not taking my job. This is mine. I am going to fight you tooth and nail. That's the NFL. They love to create competition all the time. So for JJ to go out there and say, yeah, I sit on one side of the room, he sits on the other, no big deal. That's not fire. That's not, hey, we're battling each other. That's a 23-year-old kid going, oh, they brought in someone else, and I'm just going to sit here and, do whatever I got to do. That's a very different reaction, I think, than they wanted. And that is a very different reaction than what he's given off, I think, in his first few seasons in the NFL. But he's 23. I mean, this is not an older, experienced, mature adult. He's 23 years old. And I think people forget that. I'm not excusing his behavior.
Yeah.
But he's just a kid. There's kids still in college that are his age. And
Did you ever have a boss who wanted that sort of dynamic? I worked for somebody who wanted that.
Oh, I don't know if I did, but I might have created it a couple of times. I just wanted to win. I'm going to win just to win. But I've always struggled with that. Like the NFL just creates these things where the creating of competition, and they expect it to work.
I never had to worry about it. There never was competition, Dave.
Of course, right. I mean, that's probably the real answer. But they would never do that. You say, hey, listen, Jason, you really screwed up today, so we're going to bring in someone else from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, to really push you to be better. Like that whole scenario just seems weird to expect the best when you do that to somebody. But that's the.
I would have destroyed that Eau Claire kid, though. I'll tell you that much. Continental Diamond time check is 5:58. Dave, it's time for us to say goodbye. Thank you for hanging out.
Good to see you guys.
There he goes, Dave Schwartz. Henry's got a show today because no twins tonight. So stick around for that. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Hi, Ryan.